Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we live. What's up, people? Hotep Jesus, we back with another big brain talk. We never disappoint over here. We never disappoint over here. I got a very special guest today. Two-time Pro Bowl running back for the NFL. I just gotta say personally, I gotta thank this guy right here because he saved my fantasy football league. I think 2 years straight. I had Priest Holmes. I remember having Priest Holmes, and I remember drafting LJ. I was like, I need him just in case Priest goes down. Priest went down. LJ stepped up, and I looked like the man. But he's been on Twitter just starting fires left, right, and center. So we finally was able to get him on. None other than Larry Johnson. Larry, what's up, man? How you feeling?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Very happy to be here. Glad to have you as a guest. This highly anticipated Big Brain Talk. We're gonna hop right into this thing. I like to just get to know people a little bit when we talking. Mm-hmm. And when I ran your file, I noticed, from where I'm sitting, it looked like you were destined to be an NFL all-star, right? Mm-hmm. Your dad was a football player, coach at Penn State, top university, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you go straight up in your first round pick. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. I mean, my dad went to Elizabeth State University, and most people don't know this. I like to throw this out here. He just passed away. Herman Boone. If you remember the T.C. Williams story when Denzel Washington plays Herman Boone in Remember the Titans, that was my dad's high school football coach in North Carolina. And then my dad went to an HBCU, and from HBCU, he was a free agent for the Redskins. And he didn't really quite make it, but he became a successful high school football coach. My dad has 4 state high championships. He's in the Maryland High School Coaches Hall of Fame. Then he went to Penn State, and we kind of traveled with my father because obviously, him getting jobs, I had to leave high school in Maryland and went to a high school in Pennsylvania. And so my dad was at Penn State. I was in, high school in Pennsylvania. So, it just worked out. Like I played my senior year, earned a scholarship to be on Penn State. I didn't want to go to Penn State at first. I wanted to go back to Maryland. So I took my visit to Maryland, and I took my visits to North Carolina. And that's where I really wanted to go, was North Carolina. But after like a family meeting, I actually decided to go to Penn State and see my dad was able to watch me grow as a football player. And so that was beneficial because then I have a brother and a sister. They're twins. They became Penn State, alumni, and my brother played receiver with me. So he played, I think, 2 or 3 years while I was there. So my brother, most of my highlight tapes, if people watch my highlight tapes, number 11, that's my brother. So every time he's blocking out there, he's pulling for me. So all my brothers always in my highlight tapes. So we were a football family. So I grew up. Everything was football in the summertime.
Oh, yeah, your family definitely made the right call in that meeting.
Your dad is the head of the household, man. Like my dad ran the show. Like it was no games. We didn't act silly. We didn't, really get in trouble when we were children. We were always with him. He always was our coach. And I think that was the most important part, was even if it was basketball, baseball, track, our father was a coach, and that's how we grew up.
Yo, y'all hear that, fathers? Because a lot of fathers out here today where they second guess themselves and think they should listen to mom or think they should listen to the kids and let the kids do what they do. No, dad knows best.
Exactly. Especially when you're raising boys. And mom is going to give you that love and that nurturing. But when it comes to boys, your father's going to make sure you grow to be a man quick. And I think people underestimate the value of these words. When the father's gone, he would tell you, you're the man of the house now. And he could tell this when you were 5, when you were 9, when you were 10. So you felt like you were the man. Knowing your mom was still there, you walked around with your chest poked out. Because dad said, I'm the man of the house now while he gone. And so I used to talk down to my brother and sisters like, hey, ain't gonna be no more of that. I'm the man of the house now. So yeah, you took that responsibility on, and I took that responsibility to heart growing up. And people saw my dad as very respectable, and he played no games, and he was very, very strict, but he was very, very loving to guys who didn't have fathers. Like being a coach, you surround yourself with young men who are troubled. And in me watching him tutor, young men trying to be men, I'm watching all this, and I'm blessed the fact that my dad was there for me, and I didn't have to be like some other dads that weren't there for their children, who couldn't come to the games, who couldn't come to practices. And my dad put up with a lot with those type of situations, and I think that's really what is the glue that keeps it all together.
Yeah. So what type of dad was your dad? Because I'm coach, my boys' team. They play European football. You know what I mean? I'm from Jamaica. We kick the ball. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know the type of coach I am. What type of father coach is your dad? Is he the type that's like always on your ass, like, work out, eat right, watch tape, let's practice, let's do more hours? Was he embarrassing you in front of the other team? Was he more like a laid back dad and kind of like let y'all have fun? And what was that like? That relationship?
Our relationship was serious, because he wouldn't chastise us on the football field when he was our coach. He would wait till we get home, and then he would bring it up. And he would always, those rides home, when I'm telling you, it was, if you were goofy in practice and you were silly, he would wait till we get into that car, and the car ride home would be the longest car ride, because you was going to get a mouthful. And then he would get to the house and say, look, if you really want to play football, you have to really appreciate and understand the history of the game. So he would buy all these NFL films, and I would watch them. Jim Brown, Earl Campbell, Marion Motley. I would sit there for hours on end watching tape of old school running backs. And that's where he taught us that. He taught us a lot of the old school mentality stuff. So it kind of stuck with me as far as my running style. So and being a coach, he would also make sure we knew that we were representing him. So we couldn't go to practice and be in the back of the line for drills. We would have to set the tone and be the example. So a lot of the times he expected us to jump ahead to be the demonstrating person for the drill, and we would have to do that. And then, mind you, there's other kids too who want to be that demonstrator, because they want to prove that they were good. So we would have a lot of in-house competition, a lot of competition on the football field, because that was what he said. He said, look, you're representing me. Regardless of whatever I go and whatever I do, you have to represent me as I am representing you on the football field when I do my thing. So I took that to heart. So I was always very, very tough when it came to, practice and drills and working hard.
Yeah, I'm like that with my boys, man. When they get on the field, they got to run laps. I let them know, like, yo, if you're not in the front of the line, you in last place, dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's either first place or no place. So, yeah, I'm hard on my boys like that too, man. We train, we watch a lot of tape. I make them, do their squats, and they only 10, but I still gotta, you gotta get right. You know what I mean? Still gotta be in your fitness.
Yeah, you set that tone, you set the bar, and they follow it. They don't get it now, but trust me, with their brains, it'll click. They'll know when to go at 15, 16. They know when to do squats. They know how many reps they need. So you set that bar, even if they don't understand it, and it just goes in there, one ear and out the other. When their athletic system kicks in, they automatically know, and it's because you started them on that path.
Yeah, my dad was a physical trainer in the Army, so I came up with physical training. I remember I have a bad game, man, and after the game I'll be running laps, or if I had bad grades in school, I'd be running laps. He'd take it out on me on the field. He would tie weights around my legs and make me kick the ball and run laps. But it made me a better player, man. I think that's you see a lot of that today, where you see people say, oh, kids don't need fathers, they need, villages. They try to, especially with like, Black Lives Matter, they tried to omit fathers from their website. Do you see a lot of that coming out right now, where there's a lot of like backlash on Black men and Black fathers and an attack on Black men?
It's an attack on Black masculinity and as a whole. And if you understand the hierarchy of a spiritual kingdom, where God had a he had a hierarchy in his kingdom, which was God, the man being the husband, the woman being the wife. That's all through the Bible. Now, if you are imposed of that, if you're Satan, you oppose that nature, you are going to do everything inverted. So you are going to put the woman above the man and everything that follows. Hate masculinity because Satan hates God. God is a masculine man. God is a father. You created Satan. So in return, you are going to invert your kingdom to put the woman on top and everything else on the bottom. So you get a lot of overhyped and over hypersexualized goddess worship, which you get Beyonce, you get Megan Thee Stallion, you get Cardi B, you get all these female who are really aggressive as women, and they put them as the pinnacle on top of everything else. So that's why Jay-Z's underneath Beyonce. That's why the guy from Migos, whatever his name is, he's under Cardi B. They set their kingdom this way. So and initially the main enemy is overly masculine men, is to take the fathers out of the household. So if you take the man out of the household, you really opening the gates of the house. So I can teach the woman, I can teach the child any doctrine I want. I can get the woman to want to be a man and leave her and leave the father of the child. I can get the woman to be with another woman. I can get the woman to let another man come and teach my child. See, if you are a masculine man and you are about that business, you are a threat to that kingdom. You are a threat to that household. So when the man is in the house, you got to come through me to get to my child, to get to my woman. You have to come through me. So Satan knows this. So to remove masculinity, you can get to the child and the woman quicker because, like you said, like it said since the book of Genesis, God fooled the serpent. He didn't fool Adam. The serpent fooled Eve. He didn't get to Adam. He got to Eve first. So that is how you think of everything that's going on. And that's why you get most of these coward celebrities talking about they got the feminine side, or my daughter's a she, my son is like, it's so confusing. It's hard for me to even talk about it because it makes no sense when they say it. But they say it for a reason. They say it because it's the turning of the century where the femininity is going to be over the masculine.
Now you mentioned some names. You mentioned some serious names. You said Beyonce, and you said Megan Thee Stallion. Now, you know, the internets, they don't like it when you bring up those names. Why do you feel like it's safe for you to bring up those names?
It's safe for me to bring up. You got to be, to me, to be in this battle spiritually, you have to be spiritually lawful. And right now, I'm spiritually lawful. Though I know I'm not going to fall to these type of characters, because I can point things in their character there are flaws that they know that are flaws. When you see Megan Thee Stallion, she's always doing the double gold horns and sticking her tongue out in every picture. It's like, who's representing Satanism more, her or Drake? Because if you look through his stuff, he's doing the same things. So it's like when you look at these names and people come to me, it's not men that are defending them. It's gays and women. So you see why they put them over top of man right now, because that is who they are. If you remember, in the Bible, Jezebel had a flock of eunuchs, and they had Ahab. Ahab was an effeminate man. He didn't stand for nothing in his household. He had to get Jezebel to go get that winery for him. So when Jehu came to go get Jezebel, he told the eunuchs to throw her down. So she didn't have masculine energy around her. She had if you look at it now, she had gay men around her. So what do Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Beyonce, who do they have around? Who are their main supporters? Gay men and women. So that is why it's like that. That is why they fear masculinity. So if I come at them, that's who I'm going to get. I'm going to get feminine energy at me. I'm not going to get anybody masculine. There's no men or boyfriends or men that even slept with her saying, yo, I'm going to come up and, pull up on you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that ain't happening. That's not how it's set up. So I can talk like this because I know I'm not going to be met with gay men and women. I can handle that.
So, but here's the thing, right? It's as if to say that, you're controlling women, right? You're saying what women can and cannot do. They're liberated. They have the practicing their sexual freedom, just because she dresses a certain way. Who are you to say Megan, stop dressing that way. That's wrong. When that is actually making her famous and making her a lot of money.
I'm not saying you could do whatever you want, to tell you the truth. I'm not even after her of how she acts and all that. But you have to understand, when you propagate Satanism, when you doing all that liberal nonsense that you're doing, all you're doing is creating chaos. You're creating chaos. We as Black people, especially Black women, come from conservative roots. We have attached ourselves to this liberal nonsense because the world has tricked us that we weren't conservative. So the world, if you don't know your background and know who you are as a culture, and you come over here to this country and they tell you, red is conservative, blue is liberal, and you place all your identity on liberal behavior because Barack Obama was a president, because Hillary Clinton likes us, or Bill Clinton was, quote unquote, the dumbest thing we said was the blackest president we had before Barack Obama. When you attach liberalism to our culture and this is who we are, we think this is acceptable. But we are the entertainment fools of this country. And what are you doing? You're setting up an example for younger women to follow, and it's a spirit that's going downhill fast. And it's just, to me, I don't like to see Black women being treated like that. And they get on these weird arguments of Black men hate Black women. No, Black men want to control Black women. No, we do not like that silly mess. We don't like our women out there because, if we get a Black woman, what's the first thing, another race is going to look at us? She must be like one of those chicks from VH1. She must be like them chicks that can go to a basketball game like Lizzo and start pulling her pants down. You know what I'm saying? This is you set the image of what we are as a race and a culture. So if you always out there doing wild stuff and acting hypersexual, that image is attached to us, regardless if you like it or not. That image is attached to us, and it's attached to our women who aren't like that. It doesn't work that same way with white women. When you see Miley Cyrus, that's just Miley Cyrus. It ain't attached to Blair. It's not Tyler or just a random white girl. We separate that. But when you see Lizzo, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, when you see that, they think we all are like that. We think we're all a VH1 reality show. We are all loving hip hop. And that is what's bringing Black women down, and it's bringing Black men down with it, because then you got some fools who be like, oh, I need a white woman then. I could just get a white woman. It ain't that Black men want to go after white women. Black men like conservative things. It's not going to get them into no nonsense, especially men of, some money, some power, and some fame. We want that conservatives. We don't want you out here loud, crazy, acting wild, because that's what the blogs keep propagating to you, is that Black women are crazy, and they'll tell and run on tell on you. They get on IG story and showing their body and twerking and all that. White women ain't out here doing that. They're not. I'm sorry, they're not. It ain't because Black men want to go right to the white woman. No, we see a conservative side of that. No nonsense. We are coming. We're waking up as Black men. We're waking up, and we don't want that nonsense in our house all the time.
It sounds like a theory you just put forth of the adding a little bit of cream in your coffee phenomenon, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenon. It's only because if you look at the commercials they're showing out there, they're showing a lot of interracial couples. They're showing a lot of interracial marriages. That's the new thing now. I mean, they always put Kim Kardashian and their families all, littered through that. So then it's a cycle. It's a psyop. It's to put the woman so hypersexually over top of the man, so that the man is so emasculated that he will go to another source to feel like a man. And where he going to do that? He going to go to every other race but his own. And that is what's destroying us. We are both in odd ends. Women on the extreme, we on the other extreme. And certain men, strong men, do not know where to go. That's why a lot of men are single, because they don't know which side to be on. They want to go back to the Black queens, but then it's like, the other side looking pretty good. Like, they showing us on, commercials. They looking happy. They taking, they doing Latuda commercials together. So it look like it's popping. It's popping to be in a interracial relationship with the antidepressants and all that. But that's what they making it look like. They're making it like it's, hey, you don't want to go over here. It's a little bit groovy over here. So That's how they're making it look right now.
I don't know, y'all. Larry making sense. Larry, from where I'm sitting, Larry making sense. You know what I'm saying? I can't refute any of those things. You know, when you say the grass looks green on the other side, and the word that struck me was conservative. When you said that, black women out in public aren't as conservative, and white women tend to be more inconspicuous, and reserved. And you said, we can feel more masculine with these women. I mean, you're hitting on a lot of things, home. We're gonna come right back to that thought. I just want to read some super chats. John Lemley, what's up, homie? $5 super chat. Said, good evening. Thank you, brother. Chad Lemoyne, $9.99 super chat. He said, I drafted LJ in 04, 05 and never drafted Priest Holmes. Won back-to-back trophies, GOAT. But I'm here for this discussion. Ether Gnosis, $4.99. Thank you. She said, preach, Mr. Larry. Uh-oh. She said, another one. She said, this is why non-black females get chased. They trying to embarrass black women and make it ratchet when they were the most conservative. And they were very conservative. It seems like Western civilization has grabbed the black woman and led her down an alternative path.
It's because, well, like I said, when it goes all the way back to ancient Babylon. It goes all the way back to goddess worship. You know what I'm saying? When it goes back to Semiramis, Nimrod, Cush. And I think this is what the devil has always known. He's known that if he can separate the woman from the man, put her up there, she is not going to want to come down to his level ever. And I think when we come over to Western civilization, they trick our black women. So who do you see, if you follow the money, who do you see right now as an entertainment that is pretty much selling you goddess worship, diva worship? You know what I mean? Look where track that money. And reason why you track that money, because you want to see who is giving them, writing these checks for them to act like that. And you're going to find your true enemy. You're going to find why they do this. So if you understand the Bible, you understand the Hebrews, if you understand the Israelites, if you understand where we come as a people, we are not just people of slaves. We come from a very conservative royal bloodline. And your enemy knows this. So what are they going to do? I'm going to trick them to think they aren't who they think they are. We're going to adopt their culture of conservatism, and we're going to do everything around them and show them in their face what they actually, who they are, except we're going to promote hedonism and to get them to not be around each other, get them to hate each other, to get them always at odds with each other. It's always a discussion on Twitter of black men hating black women, black men always trying to say black women are like animals. And in the hindsight, black women are ones coming out talking about their animals. You got Megan Thee Stallion. She called herself a horse. You had Eve, the pit bull in a dress. Like, this is already going on. Lil' Kim's, like, this is going on to get you into these weird conversation arguments that think we hate each other. When we really love each other, we want to connect with you. We want to bring back that old school conservatives. But right now, that liberal mindset is winning. It's winning because it's what's on the pedestal right now.
So I didn't catch this. Your take on this. Are you against race mixing, miscegenation, or
like I said, I'm in the Bible, and the Bible says we should not intermarry or have babies or anything. Like, once you wake up to this truth, I have a child by another race, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't come to this truth until now. Now, if I did it over again, I don't know. I got a beautiful daughter, and she's been the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So if we knew this truth before, maybe things would have been different, but I don't regret any of it. It's just now when you understand why this, because going into those races and race mixing, they lead you away from the Most High. And this is what was King Solomon's problem. All the wives he had with different races, he would start worshiping those other guys, and they started not observing the Sabbath and doing the laws and statutes and commandments of God. And I think that is what's going on right now. A lot of guys are getting these IG models These NBA players are getting these IG models, but you're not going to church. You're not talking about the Most High. You're not trying to get spiritually sound. You're doing this all for show. And I think that is what the whole premise of those type of laws were. Like, I'm not against it. You do what you want to do, but some of us are set apart people. We are supposed to follow a specific statute and a commandment so we don't get cursed. I think that is why most people don't know this. That's why most black people over here are cursed, because you continually to disobey, because you are set apart people, but you haven't found that truth yet. So you just do whatever.
So let's talk about that curse. I hear this curse a lot amongst the Hebrews and the Hebrew Israelites, etc., etc. I don't know much about it. Can you explain to me what this curse they always refer to as?
In the book of Deuteronomy 28, chapter 68, we had a problem, the same problem we have now. We had a problem with idolatry and worshiping other gods. So the Africans, which is Noah's son, the Hamites, they worship. If you saw Egyptian worship, they worship Ra, they worship Isis, Horus, they worship Semiramis, they worship goddess worship, the sun and the moon. We were supposed to adapt to that culture and worshiping God any way we wanted to. So God told us, we sat down and told our ancestors, now, if you do this, I'm going to send you into slavery for 400 years. Now, before that, they were in Egypt 400 years for doing the same exact thing that God told them not to do. Do not worship any other God but me. Do not sin. Do not do sodomy and all that weird stuff they were doing back then. They did it. He sent them to Egypt for 400 years. Brought them out after that curse was over. We did it again. He sent us to America. You get what I'm saying? He sent us to America. He scattered us, specifically the tribe of Judah. Now, if you go to the map of old African map and it says Negro land, you'll see one of those white colonialists or whatever have written near Nigeria and Ghana, tribe of Judah. Now, why would he do this? Now, if you look at the manifest, the ship manifest, they're all names of Judah, all Hebrew names. And they'll show you in the ship from 1800s, all 1600s, 1700s, they're Hebrew names. And they all end up in North Carolina, New Orleans. So if black people really wanted to wake up and find out who they are, all you got to do is trace back to the slave ship logs. So that curse is, go ahead.
So you said the slave ships have Hebrew names. Is that because of the Hebrew origins of the so-called black people, or is that because those slave ships were owned by people of the Jewish faith?
No.
Okay.
No. 70 AD, when Rome came down and took over Israel, he scattered the remaining tribes.
We're going 70 AD.
70 AD, he scattered those remaining tribes. So a lot of those tribes went into African lands, went into West Africa. Now, mind you, we trespassing. Now, if our land is in Israel, we flee persecution into West Africa. That's not our land. So the Africans knowing this, and because we had we still had the Torah, we still had the books of Moses, we did all the Jewish customs that they do now. We did those Hebrew customs in Africa. So we were different from Africans. So when they wanted to get us for slavery, who's going to kick them off of whose land? The Africans, the sons of Ham. So that's why people can't believe, like, why didn't Africans come over and come get us? Because we were on their land. That's why they didn't come over and get us. They told us, like, no, these are the Hebrews. Go get them. And they specifically asked for the tribe of Judah or any remaining tribes of Israel. So that's who's over here. The West African, we flew down into Congo, Nigeria, Ghana. And if you do Ancestry.com, if you have Bantu peoples, they still practice the Hebrew religion over there. Bantu peoples is going to show up a lot in most of your ancestry profiles, because that's where all the tribes of Israel flew into West Africa. So when they picked us up, the transatlantic slave happened, and we ended up over here in North Carolina, New Orleans, New York, anywhere that the ships touched down.
Ghana. And Brazil, according to the map of Pangea Connect. And there's a tribe on the coast of Brazil that actually speaks a derivation or a version of Hebrew. And the people in Ghana, if we were to connect, speak the same language. Is very, very, very similar. So, you know, there's a lot of credence to what you're saying here. I don't know if I agree with it all. See, a lot of people would say me as a Hotep or a Kemite, right, would be at odds with you, the Hebrew person, right?
Yeah.
We are the people who flung the Jews out of Africa, right? Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, but it's interesting and I want to learn more about it, right? And dive into this thing. So we are Hamites. You guys would be Shemites?
Yes.
Okay. Now break down the lineage, how that comes down from Noah.
All right. Noah had 3 sons. He had Japheth, he had Ham, and he had Shem. Ham, he gave Africa, which was, you know, around Babylon down to, like, you know, coastal Africa. Shem had that's what people think, like, oh, Jesus was Middle Eastern. No. After the flood stopped, they went into those lands. Noah blessed Shem into those lands where Saudi Arabia, Israel, all that is. That's what Shem got. Japheth, because he was a little bit light-skinned, like lighter, Japheth had up the northern regions, which is all the cold areas, which is why from his line, he got Gog, Magog, Ashkenaz. You hear that a lot when you hear Ashkenazi Jews. That's where they come from. They're not Jewish as part of the tribe of Israel. They are converts. So Ashkenazi, Turkish, and Sephardic Jews are European Jews. They are the ones that are occupying Israel right now. They're not the true, I don't like saying Jews because it's no such thing. They're not the true Israelites, or they're the true biblical story Israelites in the Bible. That's not the people that's in that land right now. Those are Sephardic and European, and those are the children of Magog, Japheth, and Esau. Because
Gog and Magog?
Yes. That's where they come from. They come from that. Russian Jews and European Jews are the ones that occupy Israel right now. Turkish Jews too. So that's where that line comes from.
So I hear a lot of people talk about Edomites.
I mean, like it says in the Bible, Esau's seed is spoiled. Spoiled means he blended with so many different. He blended with a lot. You know, he had children of Chittim. He had Japheth. Like, he went into the northern regions. So all him being the twin brother of Jacob. Now, mind you, black women till this day can still have black and white looking babies. You know, I don't know if it's albinoism or something like that. So if you take Esau being red and albino-ish, when he left, he went up to the northern regions. So he blended with Japheth, who was already light. So this is where you get where most white folk don't know where they come from. This is where they come from. They think they're Adam and Eve. No, they come from Japheth and Esau, specifically Japheth and Esau. And of course, there was some Neanderthal in there, but that is where most white people come from. And they just kind of merged and they stuck with their own. Everybody was in their own tribe. There really wasn't that much race mixing back then because the Israelites had a specific law not to race mix. You see what I'm saying? So they were always with each other. I mean, even Moses' wife was Midianite, and she was African. So nothing was done outside of certain races.
You think people have the wrong racial idea of Jesus and the other figures in the Bible?
Of course they do. And they know they do. See, they know they do because, like I said, we are the biggest fools, jokesters, wildest race and culture. Why do you think we're like this? You think this is who we are because this is who we are? No, they select a specific sellouts they take the sellouts among us. The ones who are smart enough to know the scheme, take them, promote materialism, debauchery, hedonism, hypersexuality. They get them to preach, to show us who we are on TV, and that's who we think we are. We think we're supposed to go to the club and pop 10 bottles of Ace of Spade. We think that we're supposed to wear skimpy clothes. Where do you think all these weird clothing lines pop up out of nowhere? They're always women showing their butts and showing their breasts and all that. And that's because we think that's our culture. Now, mind you, if they showed us who we really are, it would turn this whole system upside down. We're the biggest consumers. You know how much money we put into hair, women put into the hair business? Like billions. You think if we knew who we really were, that this economy would sustain itself? It wouldn't. You see what I'm saying? It just wouldn't. We buy the cars, we buy the rims, we buy the jewelry, we buy the diamonds. We are the biggest consumers in this country. To stay mentally enslaved, they have to keep us this way. This is what keeps the economy going. Now, if we woke up to this and stopped buying and checked out some of this behavior that we did and really got to know each other, man, we would rule this country. We would rule it.
So the other day you were talking about leprosy. You said leprous,
Yeah.
right? Does that feed into what you were just talking about with the Esau and Japheth, or?
Yeah, well, that's a side thing of it. But I always, like Robert Kennedy said this. He said it'd be a shame that we treat black people the way we treat them, and that we go to God and then find out God is black. Now, why would he say this if he didn't wholeheartedly believe this somehow? Because he has the knowledge that we didn't have. So now that we are coming into this knowledge, when you look at Adam and Eve, and they had Cain and Abel, when he marked Cain, he didn't, you hear leprous, you hear leper as he marked him with boils and skin lesions. No, that's a misconception. He marked him with whiteness. I kid you not. Our Father, who could do anything, if he wanted to mark you blue, he could mark you blue. If he wanted to mark you red, he would have marked you red. If he wanted to make you polka dot, he could do that. When Cain killed Abel, he marked him with whiteness. So Cain had that mark on him. So his children after him, because he was cursed for 7 generations, had whiteness as a curse. Now you look at Moses when he was on top of Mount Sinai, when he's meeting with God, before he took the assignment to free his people from Egypt. He told him, put your hand into your robe, and took it out. It was white, leper, white. He marked them with whiteness. So that Moses is black. So if Moses was white, why did he need to mark him with whiteness? So it says in the Bible, and specifically the Cephas version, it was white as snow when he took his hand out of his robe and he put it back in, and it went back to normal. Now Moses had a sister named Miriam, and Miriam was backbiting and talking gossip about Moses because she was upset about who he married, because he married a Midianite and he didn't marry a woman of the Israelite tribe. So Aaron was with her during this. So God came down, marked Miriam completely white as snow, leprous. So the whole time her curse was she was white. So that takes you back to the Levites. You would know that the Levites, specifically the Levite priesthood, were all black. Why would God need to mark anybody with whiteness unless it was a curse? So that should tell you our Father in heaven is a black man. It should tell you this.
Man or woman?
Huh?
Man or woman?
It's a man. It's a masculine man. God made all the angels male. That's why they call them the sons of God. He didn't say my sons and daughters of God. The angels are men. You see what I'm saying? God is a masculine man. That's why his kingdom structure is the man and the wife, and that's how he did it. When he punished Adam for listening to his wife to eat that forbidden fruit. That's where Adam's curse came from. Adam could have done anything he wanted to, but because he hearkened unto his wife and listened to her, he took that fruit. That's what Adam's punishment was. God is, I'm telling you, the masculine, because that's how he does his kingdom.
I can't help but picture God with titties. Like when I think of God, I think of 2 really nice titties, right, in my face. Like, yes, that's what God would be. To have God be a man and all his angels be a man, it sounds a little bit homosexual to me. No, there's no woman anywhere.
No,
even when we look at the church, it says, "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit." Mm-hmm. Where the titties at?
That's not how he does. That's not how he does it. That's not how God is. God is a man. Like if you look at book of the Exodus, I think Exodus 10:14. I may be but it's in Exodus. It says God is a man of war. The Father is a man of war. It ain't nothing homosexual about that. If you look at all the men that he raised up, if you look at the stories, God would tell people to go snatch people out of their tents for idol worship and set fire to them. Joshua did this. All the great men in the Bible are men who went to war for God. So there ain't nothing gay about that. If you look at the society now, ain't nobody going to war. Not really. No one's going outside their houses and standing up for what they believe in. That's why masculinity is so under attack now, because of that.
That's true. That's true. That's true. All right. So here's the other thing, right? When I first saw you on Twitter, I said, "Yo, I got to talk to Larry, man, because I feel like he off on some things, but maybe he not, right?" So let's walk down this line. You mentioned earlier about Megan Thee Stallion throwing up the horns, right?
Yeah.
And you got some people, they throw up the diamond sign. Now, Money got a pyramid on, and they got the all-seeing eye. Do you see these symbols as being inherently negative and evil? Or is there a possibility that a righteous person can use these symbols for good?
No, it says in the Bible, what would the righteous have anything to do with the wicked? And once they're signs, it's what they are, it's what they really are. People don't even know where that devil horn thing comes from. It actually comes from what's the blind girl? Keller and Mega. Can't even think of it right now.
Helen Keller?
Helen Keller. Helen Keller invented over 62 hand signs. That was one of them. Helen Keller was also a Satan worshiper. People didn't know that either. But you're told that she was the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. No, she did a different philosophy. She was under a different philosophy where they believe Lucifer is the god of this world. So if she invented the devil horns, it's always going to be the devil horns. It means I love the devil. That's what it means. And then no one was doing this until 1970s, until rock got into it. So rock and roll was doing the devil horns. While all of a sudden now we get to hip hop culture where it really don't even make sense to even do it. So why did we all start doing devil horns and pictures and all that? Why I got friends I don't even talk to anymore start doing it. Why did we start doing this? It doesn't change its symbol. It doesn't mean I love you. You don't know that many deaf and blind people to be on your Instagram doing I love you in sign language. It's stupid to even make that assumption or that excuse. It means the devil horns. And when you do the pyramid, I was doing a pyramid when I was scoring touchdowns, and not until I finished, it'd be like I was doing the same dumb stuff too. I was blind to it. I was throwing up Illuminati pyramids and not even knowing why I was doing it. Mind you, I was getting paid from Jay-Z to wear, S. Carter and all that. But look at the connection to that. Being a Freemason and all that. I was like a puppet out there throwing it up and not even knowing what I thought it was just for rockaware. That's me not knowing what it was about. Until you learn to understand the symbols that they use, it's always going to be the same wicked nonsense.
Well, Lucifer is the light bringer, right? And light is supposed to be something great. So I don't know if I see Lucifer as being he's definitely the bad guy, through and through. There's no doubt about it. If we're talking about somebody that's bringing the light, and then you have God, right? You have God, and he has these commandments. And like, what's the first commandment? Like, I'm a jealous God or something like that.
Yeah, it's don't put no other gods before him.
Right. Like a benevolent person wouldn't even start there, right?
Like I said, people can believe what they wanted to. Like some of us are set apart people, and we believe the Most High, and he's been in some of our lives. He's shown in some of our lives who we really are and who he is, because he has saved us from certain things that we would have definitely been caught up in. We'd have been dead or in jail, especially in my life. So I don't play around with the games of the Most High and what his power is and what he's not. I know what Lucifer is. I know who's running this world right now. He was given this world. The world, it says the world has been handed over to the wicked. So you see all this gay nonsense, this transvestite nonsense, all this stuff you see is from the devil. He's a masculine and feminine. That's why everybody's doing the Baphomet goat horns. That's why the Baphomet itself is a goat with boobs and a phallus. People think if you want to serve that.
So here's my studies. I've studied the Baphomet symbol, right? And through my studies, Baphomet was a creation to mock the mystics of the time. It wasn't created by, the evil Illuminati to worship it. It was actually created to mock because if you look at the Baphomet, he's pointing, up and down at the same time, which is, as above, so below. Mm-hmm. And that's biblical, right? As above, so below.
Yeah, everything is, like I said, everything is in this realm is the inverted, perverted version of whatever the Lucifer. So everything Lucifer does is a copy and counterfeit to God. So yeah, he used everything in the Bible is used to his benefit to invert it. So yeah, it means as above, so below.
Oh, okay. So here's the other thing. We have the nativity story, or the Osirian drama. There's a conflict there, with the Osirian drama and the nativity scene and the Immaculate Conception of Christ, and having that predated in ancient Kemet. Do you lend any credence to that, to say that Kemet does in fact have these things etched in stone before a Bible is conceived?
No, I don't get into none of that. I really don't get into none of that. I go by what the Bible and the Pseudepigraphicas and the Torah, and I go through what is shown to me. Now, whatever man created or whatever they said happened and all this other happened, that's not my place. I go by what the Most High has shown me. Some people don't have the Holy Spirit or discernment to watch and see what's going on and know what the whole scam of everything is. Some people don't see that, so they use whatever information they think is going to really to rebuff what supposed to be already is, what the truth is. People trying to find their way around the truth and not take the truth for what it is, because this is the age of deceit. And this says in the Bible in the last days, people are going to be liars. People are going to be deceitful. So this is what this is. Every time somebody mentions, oh, this is what they have, it's a man that's been telling you, or a spirit that's telling you, this is what it really happened. So the nativity and this and that, and it's just to confuse you to believe anything you want to believe, as long as it's not the truth. That is what demon worship and Lucifer worship is to get you believe something else that's not the true form of the Bible. The Bible has no lies in it. It can't be disputed. It is what is.
So the pyramids mean nothing. The temples mean nothing. So the 42 negative confessions predates the 10 commandments. You lend no credence to that theory as well?
No.
I said no. Just the Bible, and that's the only thing we going off is the Bible.
Yeah.
What
only thing I go off, the only thing I know that's attacked, because that's the only thing that's being attacked, is the Bible. There's no other. The Catholic Church, what they believe in, that's not being attacked. Muslims, what they believe in, that's not being attacked. Every religion has parts of the Bible in it. People are trying to confuse themselves. Muslims, they believe in Jesus.
Yeah, they do.
Catholics, they believe in some form of Jesus.
Yeah.
Every other denomination, Baptist, Methodist, all anything has parts of the Bible in it. Mind you, if they don't have what you're talking about in any of their scriptures, so the truth must be there in the Bible, because everybody perverts it to sway people into their religion. What you just brought up, I have never heard of, and never ever heard any other religion based off of that. So I know it ain't truth.
Yeah, like when Magnus Stein throws up the horns, the first thing that comes to mind for me is the ancient Egyptian goddess, and like you said, you know the goddess worship, right? Goes back to goddess Hathor. She has the cow horns on her head, and I just I just have a little bit different outlook on some of this stuff. So I wanted to ask you, what was the turning point in your life where you said, I'm going to go down this Hebrew faith path? Was it somebody introduced it to you? You ran across it on YouTube? What happened?
It's not really a Hebrew faith. It's the Bible. I ran down the Bible. Now, I ran down the stories in the Bible. So if I sat back and watched, and I've seen a lot of documentaries, and it's starting to add up, and my spirit clicks with that, that's what it is. Then it's the truth, because I've asked for discernment. I've asked to show me I asked God, show me the way. And people don't understand this. You just can't, assume that this is what this is when I just jump onto religion. Oh, I prayed for this. I literally sat there for 9 months studying what every story meant, how things lined up. And it made sense to me to the point where it didn't lead me down to a Hebrew faith. It led me into the Bible and it led me into God. That was the whole part of me coming to this truth, is that it led me back to God. It didn't lead me back to, Hebrew and Israelites and all that. It led me back to God. That's the whole point of me waking up on Twitter or saying what I'm saying, because it's leading me back to the Most High. The Hebrew part of it is just a small part of it to me.
Okay.
I'm going into the bigger part of it, and that's the salvation in the kingdom that comes hereafter. So that's what I'm preparing my soul for. I'm not preparing my soul to be an Israelite, to wear, the fringes and to change my name and all that. I'm not preparing myself for that. I'm preparing myself for glory and salvation through God, and this is where it's leading me.
When did this happen? When did you, find this revelation? Because I had a similar one. I think for me, it was like around 2011, 2012. I had this big spiritual awakening, and I was just completely different. I haven't been the same since. When did this happen for you?
This happened, I want to say, like 9 to 10 months ago.
Really? Recent?
It was recently. So what basically, I came at the end of myself, not as far as like suicide and like that. I'm talking about when things weren't working out and I was being frustrated with a certain aspect of my life. I got on my knees and begged for help. Show me the way. Like, you got to be tired of doing things your way to the point you don't want to do your way anymore. So that is what I gave up. I gave up my ego. I gave up the way I did things, the way I saw things, and I needed a different perspective. I needed a spiritual perspective, and that's where my soul was. My soul needed something else to keep itself going, because I was at the end of my decisions. I couldn't make any good decisions that was going to make me happy, so I wanted a spiritual involvement to bring me to, a different light.
So, I'm just trying to figure out, the day, what that day was like. Was it, were you home alone? Or did you get invited to church? Did, for me, a lot of this stuff, like I was introduced to some of the gnosis I followed through like YouTube, right? Like Shaka Akmos, Dr. Kaba Kamin, a lot of these teachers brought me into some of the things I had to my ideology. Was there anybody that you followed, or?
No, this
you
happened.
Just picked up the Bible one day and started reading.
It wasn't like that. I was watching a couple of videos on YouTube about the stories of the Bible, and I would watch them all day. I don't do anything.
Okay.
I'm in retirement, so I'm watching, and then I started to go into the Bible, and then I asked for discernment and to show me what should I read first, and I would start there. I was in Deuteronomy, then from Deuteronomy I went into Matthew I went to Revelation. So following the precepts and line upon line, here or there a little, see there a little, like I was doing that, and then it kind of added things in for me so where I could be able to piece things together fairly quickly, and that's where it kind of happened for me.
Yeah. Nah, I totally get that. Anybody in the chat, you want to ask questions, you know what to do. Just hit the super chat. Bobby, I don't know how to say your last name. $5. Thank you. He said, damn, my headphones died at work. I got to wait to finish this. It's all good. We're going to be here, and it's going to be on soundcloud.com/HotepJesus in 3 days exactly. Paleo Ethiopian, $5 super chat. He says, Jesus is king. You fuck with that Ye album?
No, it's garbage. He's not talking about Jesus as in. So the thing is, people are ignorantly calling him Jesus. His Hebrew name was Yeshua. So the Catholic Church is promoting the Antichrist agenda. The Catholic Church is getting Kanye to say Jesus is king because he believes Jesus was born on December 25th. It never says when Yeshua was born. It never even says in the Bible. But people do know when Mary laid by the date tree, the dates were in season to where it was in the summertime. So Yeshua was actually born in warm weather. People like Kanye's preaching as Jesus is king, and then he does like the album on December 25th. So he obviously believes what the Catholic Church believes, which is Jesus was born on December 25th, and where they actually celebrating is the Greek god Mithra. And the Bacchanali and the Saturnalia season and the winter solstice, that's what they're celebrating. They just attach Jesus to it. Like I said, everything is copied and perverted. So everything the Catholic Church believes in, the Muslims believe in, is all bootlegged and copied and counterfeited from the Bible. That's, like I said, that's how I know it's truth.
Now hold on, Larry. You said to me that Jesus King was a bad album. I know that's not. Goddamn, it's not true. That album is fire,
That
Larry.
song is garbage. And that's only because when you're in the spirit, like, you don't want to hear Yeshua of salvation and all that being mentioned next to a Chick-fil-A restaurant. Like, some people like black folk got to get out of this chicken shit. Like, it's really embarrassing for us as a culture that we likened to own a chicken sandwich and we killing each other for it. And you think that making a Jesus King album and saying close on Sunday and linking the man of our salvation, the reason why we can have mess ups and slip ups, you want to link that to chicken. Like, to me, that's the most disrespectful thing you could really do.
Oh, god damn. Close on Sunday. You my Chick-fil-A. Oh man. The kids love that joint, Larry. You fucking my fun up.
That's why you said the key word, kids.
The kids love that joint. That's not good, right?
That ain't grown men stuff. That's kids, like you said, it's kids. You
right. The kids really enjoy that song. Damn, Larry, I can't listen to the album the same no more, man.
Listen to the lyrics, man. The lyrics are really, I wouldn't say they're blasphemous, but they're really just stupid lyrics, and they misquote the Bible. Now, mind you, he don't say anything about the laws and stuff that you were talking about. He's talking about biblical stories. Don't even say them right.
He knew. He just found Jesus just like you.
He said he was doing Jesus walks the whole time. He was doing literally concerts with white Jesus. Doing the conversation with white Jesus. Now, come on, it tells you what he believes in. He don't believe in Yeshua HaMashiach. He believes in Jesus of Rome.
Caesar Borgia.
Yeah, he believes in that. That's his dude, Caesar Borgia. You know what I mean? Like, he patterns his whole religion off a dude who raped, murdered, and was a pedophile. Come on, that's the image that he sets.
Oh my God, this thing going super Hotep. I'm used to being the one that's going super Hotep and ruining everybody's fun.
Nah, trust me. This is what I do. I'm a fun ruiner. This is what I do. I wait for these conversations on Twitter just so I can just insert stuff.
So how did the whole Twitter thing happen? Like, you just was like, let me get on Twitter one day, or was it?
Nah, you know what the funny thing is? I was gonna get on the Twitter to try to rebrand myself, to get back into the world and for opportunities and all that. And then it came to a point where I don't know what I said. Well, yeah, I said there was like an effeminate agenda in pro sports. That kind of kicked it off, because I've been waiting to say that for months. And I was watching. NBA is soft to me. Like, they already soft, but it was even more soft, and they were flopping. It was like, what is going on? Like, this ain't the days of Sean Kemp, Rodman, and guys were brutal with it, like Anthony Mason, and like Larry Johnson. They ain't those guys no more. It was those guys flopping around and getting their eye poked and acting like crybabies and all that nonsense. So that's when I started coming out, and I was like, you know what? My foot's already in it. I'm gonna keep going. So I just started looking at some of the little agendas that they put in sports and they put on the TV, and I kind of add things together, and that's when I really started the thing on Twitter. And I just like, you know what? I'm gonna leave this world alone, and I'm just gonna make fun at it and poke at it, celebrities, because they ain't gonna do shit to me anyway. So that was my thing. My thing was like, all right, I see the formula. Now I'm gonna make fun of the puppets doing it. So that's why I started on Twitter.
Yo, I love Twitter. That's my platform. I wrote the book, Twitter Marketing, or Dominate Twitter. You can get the link in the description box below, people, if you're not listening. And I teach people how to get amalgamated with Twitter and make some money and grow a brand, etc. You're doing an excellent job of branding yourself. But I could just hear myself just like throwing my concentration off. I think your speakers is a little loud.
I'm good.
No, the change speakers now.
Oh.
Yeah, I just hear the echo. Twitter's a very unique platform. So how are you like Twitter now? You feeling it, or how do you feel about the environment?
It's the environment. It's the point where it's so funny to me now. People really be getting upset. Like, people go to your DMs. I'm like, why do you go to my DMs to talk mess about me? Man, bring that in the front. Like, just at me. I don't even check my mentions. I don't check half my comments. I'm not in it like that. I say what I believe and I leave it alone and watch everybody else argue over it. I'm not here to argue about what I believe in. Like, I say what I believe and I leave it alone. I'm not trying to convince you. To me, I'm the pettiest person when it comes to this. I say what I say just so when it happens in the end, I can tell you I told you so. I'm not saying it for me to convince you of what I believe in. I'm just going to say that so you read it. So when it actually happens and it comes to fruition, I'm going to double back. I'm going to be in your ear all 24 hours a day talking about I told you so. I told you so. You got somebody with a brain degenerative disorder telling you so. You were smarter than me. I told you so. That's my thing.
That's how we got the name of our show. Every Thursday, 8 p.m., Uncle Hotep, we do HOTEPS Been Told You, because a lot of the things, just like you said, we say it so that later on down the line and it pop up, we can say HOTEPS Been Told You. You know what I mean? It's well documented. It's not like you said, it's not here to convince you. We're just putting it here so when we go back and check the record, we know who stood where and what.
Exactly. Because a lot of people, like, they forget what they said, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I would." Like, no, you didn't always believe in this. You didn't believe it until I told you this was going on. So I love people that they always flip flop that to be on the popular side of things and never want to be on the other side. And that's what I like about Twitter. I get to be on the other side of this because I don't lose any opportunities because I don't want any other opportunities. Yeah. I'm really free in what I say. I could say any homophobic slur I want. What are you gonna do? Ban me? My check still comes first of the month, so you can't cut that off. So that's right now I use it to really try to wake up people to what's really going on and the certain agendas that they use and why they use certain athletes to promote certain agendas. I know these athletes don't really believe in it. They just believe in it now because it makes them money. They get opportunities from it.
You think that's why a lot of them don't talk out because they worry they check is at risk?
Oh, you know that. You know they do. It's easy. You can always tell what agenda is popping. Like when Colin Kaepernick came out and he took the NFL deal, when he could have spoke up and kind of exposed racism amongst the owners, the first person that co-signed that crap was LeBron James. They gotta co-sign that stuff. He can't speak out. And you saw him with the whole China thing. He can't go against money. That's where his allegiance is to a specific fraternity of dudes. Like, that's why he got that whole boule line across his chest. That's his pup. That's their puppet. He gotta agree with the agendas. He can't say, hey, I want to change some things. He can't do that. He can't do that.
Is there a silent majority or minority of celebrities that want to speak out, or you kind of sometimes you think, hey, yo, Larry, yo, this some fuck shit. You know what I mean? Does that exist?
I think so. They're not hitting me about it, but I think so. There's a lot of guys that do say, yo, keep speaking that truth, keep speaking up. I think they are trapped. There's a lot of guys that are trapped because they don't want to be poor. You know what I'm saying? They rely on a system that keeps them rich, that keeps them affluent, that keeps them marketable. Now, if they go against that, they don't want to suffer and lose everything. Like me, I lost everything, but I've been built up a certain way. You know what I mean? Some people, they are scared to lose it all. Like, that's why LeBron James can't go too far, because he's scared to lose it all. He's way up there, and that fall is going to be deep. And a lot of guys are like that. A lot of guys who want to speak out, but they don't give them a platform to speak.
They trap. All right, I want to go back to Twitter really fast. How do you view Black Twitter? Do you view it as a mirror of what you see on VH1? Do you think it could be better? Yeah. It's good there, or?
Yeah, it's a reality show in itself. Like, they could have a documentary, a miniseries, a Netflix show based on Black Twitter. Like I said, we are the jokes. We think it's entertainment for us, but we are the jokes. One thing I don't like, though, is why we use nigga a lot. You know what I mean? We forget other races watch us. You know what I'm saying? If I understand it, we took power away from that word. But say if nigga meant dumbass. Now, we would go around calling each other, hey, what's up, dumbass? Like, that's how white folks see us. That's why other races see us. Like they love that word so much, they made it part of their culture where that's all you see on Black Twitter. Every joke starts out, this nigga, that nigga. Like even girls are talking like dudes now. And and you wonder why real men are getting away from that. You know what I'm saying? We have to have some type of, standard, or some bar has to be set to where we don't look like we the ones that's paying for our own mockery. Like we get mocked right now. We keep the economy going just of our jokes. That chicken sandwich, that was us. We ain't get no money from that. We are the marketing plan. Just get Black Twitter to say something about it, and it'll just take off. We don't have to pay them. They like being free labor.
You right. I know this girl who she doesn't curse. She doesn't say any curses, but she does say nigga. And that always struck me as odd. I'm like, you won't curse, you won't say shit, the F word, nothing, but you'll say nigga. And I always looked at nigga as being in the same line as other curse words, being inappropriate for people of certain ages. And you're right about this. So you do have a problem with the word nigga.
Yeah, I mean, then it boils into the music, and then you know what it is? Then we only get upset when white folks rapping in lyrics and all that. It's like we want that word to be attached to us so hard that we're willing to go fight other races for them to not say a word that's really disrespectful for us. Like if our ancestors woke up right now and came up to us and heard us say that word, they would smack us in our mouths. Like people been hung from trees, scratches on their back from whips, children been thrown to alligators specifically off that word. Yep. I don't think why we want to keep attaching ourselves to it and fighting to keep that word attached to us. Like I said, if Black folk really knew who we really are and woke up, it would shake the economy in America.
Well, Dr. Kamin says that the word doesn't actually mean something negative. The word goes back to meaning like emperor, exalted, to be high, a king. Come
on. If that was the truth, they would have made a movie about that. They wouldn't have a Harriet Tubman movie made. They would have made a movie of being kings calling each other nigga. Like they would have made that movie already. They wouldn't have made Django. They would have made that movie if they really wanted to attach that word. But because white folk know what that word means, they throw this on us. They put it in movies. Now, mind you, like you said what you said, if they didn't mean nothing, it's just then why they keep putting it in the scripts? Why do they specifically always make movies about the 60s civil rights movements? They always make those movies, and they make movies about slavery using that word specifically. If that word didn't mean nothing, there's no way to put it in the script. I mean, Hollywood lies about everything else. You could just not admit the word even existed back then if they really wanted to, but they know that word exists.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think the word has so much history. When you think about what a Negro is Black in Spanish, negro, right? So this isn't a word that's new. I think it's a word that's only new to white America. Like they hear negro, and then they just turn it into nigga after a while. Like this is ignorant white folks down south.
No, but I just told you the map says Negro land on it, and that map is like predates almost the 1500s.
Right. So in the Kemetic teachings, we know it's Deseret and Kemet. Deseret means red land, and Kemet means black land. So negro would mean black land. Right? Yeah. So that's an exact translation. So I'm not too sold on it. What I am sold on is the fact that they do like to throw a lot of victim movies at us. Victim of slavery, victim of civil rights era, and they don't show the Songhai Empire, the Mali Empire. They don't show Queen Nzinga of the Kingdom of Angola, or none of that. Mansa Musa. Do you notice that too, or?
Of course I do. But like I said, it's the feminine over the masculine. So you're not going to say, look at even Taraji P. Henson when she did that movie of the civil rights. Like you would think that where were the black men during this time? Like where all the kings fighting? You know what I'm saying? It's a million stories of us being black men fighting against the system. But because of where we are right now, everything's got to be feminized. So you only going to get female leaders. That movie about the NASA thing, that's why that came out. Where are our movies at? There's a reason why they don't want to show black masculinity in the movies when it comes to oppression. It would show how strong we are. We would get riled up knowing that we stood against the system and we were successful at certain points. That's why you won't see the movie. You won't see a movie about Black Wall Street.
Right.
Who you think started that?
Who?
Black men. Black men got together to start doing these things.
But the black woman was there too, though.
She was there too, but that's how we were working together. Why do you think they don't want to bring that story up? Why can't they insert it where you learn 3 minutes of that snippet attached to another show? Imagine if we just had a story about that.
You see what they did to they were about to do a movie on the Black Bankers.
Yeah.
And Sam Jackson, I believe, was involved in that film. And then, one of the producers or alleged producers was caught up in some sexual misconduct from a young age. You know about that film?
I didn't hear much about it though.
Yeah, it's a film about black bankers. I'll pull it up right now because I want you to check this out. But yeah, it got pulled. It's called The Banker. I believe. And Samuel L. Jackson's involved with this film, and it was supposed to, I think Apple bought it and it was supposed to come out, and now it's like in limbo because of this sexual assault. It seems like every single time, like even when we had Nate Parker, he was about to drop Birth of a Nation.
Yeah, we went to the same school together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you saw what happened to him as soon as he brought out the Nat Turner.
I knew about that story though.
You knew about that, the Nat Turner?
Oh, I knew about the Nat Turner, but I also knew about why after they brought Nat Turner out, they brought out that little case that he had in Penn State. That little rape case he had. And
was that something back then?
It happened. He had to leave. Well, actually, it was two guys I knew. He was at a party with this chick, and she was one of those girls that was at every athlete party. And they get like, he had to get. He was a good wrestler. Actually, he was a good wrestler at Penn State, and then he just left and went to Arizona, I think, to finish up his degree. And that was it. Like, we really didn't hear much about it. We saw her on campus, but that was pretty much it. And then I knew there was, as soon as that Nat Turner, I knew they was going to dig after that and find out that he had gotten that. I mean, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to come out. So, I mean, it was great that he did that movie. But like I said, anything we put out, it has to be mauled down and tainted somehow, so we can't really get behind it. And we weren't smart enough to see past that little scam they put on us. We should have just supported it anyway. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened to him happened a while ago, and nobody even knows but him and that girl what actually really happened. And that's why we should have left it. But as soon as that came out, we the first ones that did jump up and pull our own self down and dig into each other's past to try to make seem like that. Like I said, that's what that whole liberalism is. That whole feminine thing was all this black masculine film. That was really the set for black men to rise up a little bit. And he pulled it right back down with that liberal female nonsense.
You nailed that. When you said it's the liberal, it is definitely a black liberal creation, because when you looked at the people that were mad about it, it was all like, those black notable feminists. They all have blue check marks. They were all working for the media outlets, the mainstream media outlets. And it seems like we have our own civil Cold War in the black community, where it's they call you Hotep, right? They called you Hotep before, right?
Yeah, but I don't understand that we put these labels on ourselves and other black people who are trying to wake up and educate a little bit. And I think we as a culture, we like digging around each other's past to bring up something to bring them down so they can't recognize their own growth. And I think that is why our culture will always be a mockery and will always be laughed at, because they just sit back and watch us. Anytime we come up with the truth and the other side fears us a little bit, they are counting on our own to dig through our passes and put our past on blast, as if we can never grow in this world, and so we kill our own revolution every single time somebody pops up. We bring them right back down.
Yeah, that's how Hotep. I was telling you before when we spoke the other day. That's how Hotep was formed. People like you and me who were providing an alternative, alternative facts, alternative reality, which I would call the real reality, the real truth, the real facts, and they're the alternative. But we have this dichotomy of black liberal versus Hoteps, right? This is where we've come to. And it seems like it has some history. When I study Marcus Garvey, he talks about the Black Boule, the NAACP that worked to get him extradited, worked to get him arrested, worked to sabotage his UNIA organization and corporation. So there's a lot of history here, a lot of that we're dealing with, and you and I are caught up in it. What are you going to do about that? What do we do? Do you just kind of just keep just telling the truth and say fuck them, or?
I as much as I want to be petty in my nature, I also don't want to be, because I was where they were for as far as our own people. I was there. I was there doing whatever rappers were doing. I was doing whatever, what was popular. I was the one in the clubs, and I didn't want to hear anything that had any reason to it or truth to it. So when I tell the truth specifically to white people, I have to do it with a little bit of love attached to it, because I understand not knowing what to do and identifying yourself with a culture that's really not yours. You see what I'm saying? It's like you being told this is who we should be, and you get the lowest denominator out of our communities, and you use them as a benchmark of this is who we are. Like, you take the baby, for instance. He a grown man, 29 years old, was walking around and doing interviews in Pampers, and we laugh at that and say that was just a gimmick. Come on, black people. You don't even see you don't see country stars doing this. You don't see Miley Cyrus doing this. You don't see Chris Hemsworth doing this. You don't see Tom Cruise doing this. It's only us that does this. So when I trying to get people into this truth, it's going into their heads. It's hitting some type of nerve, because they fight against me about it. That's just that ego. That's that spirit in them that wants to keep a hold of thinking it's okay to do whatever you want. And I'm just trying to tell black people, like, it's going to come a time you're not going to be able to do whatever you want. You see what I'm saying? And it's going to be a time where you have to make a decision. It's either going to be with them or you're going to be with us.
All right, so we're going to get into something a little controversial. Yeah. Like something light. Trump. How do you feel about Trump as president of the United States of America, and how he's affected the political scene, how he's affected racism, et cetera, et cetera? What are your thoughts on that man?
I love it because he actually showed you who America is. Before, when you had Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Hillary, presidents before that, George Bush and all that, you never really knew what they felt or knew what they thought, or you never really knew their agendas. You just knew they love America and they like to go to war, but you never knew the inner workings of certain things. Trump exposed that. It either is as sloppy as it looks, but he actually exposed what they actually do and how they actually move. When he fired all those press secretaries, imagine the times that we watch George Bush's administration, all that administration, and they kind of switch people out. You never knew why. They were gone, and then somebody was new. Because they made a reality show, Trump made it a reality show, you see how all over the place everybody is. So when I like watching him, you really watching what America really is. It is a country that barely knows anything, and they're trying to fool everybody when all the cameras are on them, and it's coming out in a way where it looks very, very chaotic. So when people defend it, I laugh at how hard they defend it, because they defended what they really are. So I get to see who my enemies are. I get to see who my friends are, and I can see what things we share. Now, mind you, the same people, I can share the same values as somebody who voted for Trump, because I know at the end of the day, he really ain't that racist. I think it's just to keep us at odds, because they're welcoming like I said, I believe in the Antichrist is coming after Trump. So I believe that. So they have to set you up with him playing a role, with the liberals play a role. And they both in on it, but he has to play this role of everything's racist. I hate Africa. I hate black people. But that's just a facade. But I like watching his administration because you really learn about government in a certain way to where it's a reality show.
Yeah, you're right. That's all I always loved about his presidency. It brought everything. It made politics pop culture. So everybody kind of had to learn a little something, you know, like we learned recently that just because he's impeached don't mean he's going nowhere, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people thought, oh, the impeachment, that was it. It's like, nah, nigga, that you still got a lot more work to do.
See, we that Bill Clinton mess. Like when they say he was gone, he was gone. And then Richard Nixon, when he was gone, he was gone. This Trump Jones was like, yo, this is just part one.
Yeah. Well, Clinton finished out his term. You know what I mean? He just wasn't gonna get hired for the job again.
Yeah.
You know, Trump. You think we get another 4 years with Trump?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I think that's like written in stone.
There's no strong liberal candidate, and you see, it's almost like Biden is just he like lazily he not giving his whole forward and winning anything. He just sliding by, making obscene comments. He just doing a lot of stupid stuff to make you second guess his ability to be ahead of this country. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're really trying to hype up the LGBTQ community because all that liberalism is attached to them. See, they already trumped the civil rights and Black Lives Matter. It's all about gay rights and trans rights right now. So Trump being in office again, that's going to offset them to be violent. That's where the whole social civil war is going to come from. It's going to become from them not getting their president in. So that's where, Trump is going to be used as that tool.
Using Trump to emotionally manipulate people.
Basically, yeah.
Keep them marching in orders. You familiar with Antifa?
Yeah, a little bit. I see a lot of people talk about it, and they turn into, I don't know what they did, but they turn into some type of violent movement where it's just is more homosexuals in that crew, or
I would say
I don't know their whole synopsis.
I would say so. It's anti-fascist, fasciste. This goes back to like Nazi Germany. This group has roots in, but to me, it looks like a violent Bolshevik revolution created by the communists and socialists that live here in America, manipulate our political system, just like George Soros manipulated and funded Black Lives Matter through open society. You know, that they're just another group that's funded. It just worries me because the media say it's a group for Black people by Black people, and I'm like, nigga, nah, we not funding. That's not us. That group is not us at all. But you have it's kind of scary because you have a lot of Black people that will, like Talib Kweli. Have you ran into Talib Kweli online yet?
No. I heard somebody dissing him and all that, so I'm trying to find out why. I didn't dig into it, but I know he's been outed a couple of times.
Oh man, I might have to instigate a little fight between y'all.
What's going on with him?
Yo, Talib, that's the most deaf, man. That's Black Star. That's supposed to be like OG Hotep.
Oh, so most deaf, the one that was in that Kente Cloth Kwanzaa skirt.
Yeah. Come on, let me talk about most deaf like that now. Hold up.
Yeah, all right. That's what men are now. All right. My man had a button up and some slippers on and a long skirt.
It wasn't a skirt, Larry.
What was it?
I don't know what it's called, but it's not a skirt.
Well, it was not manly.
He had pants on underneath, goddammit. But Talib is part of, the pro-Black Star group, supposed to be like authentic. I thought Hotep, but he drunk the Black Lives Matter juice, and now he's out here affirming the lives of people with pronouns in their bio. And I actually met the dude. We hung out, we smoked some weed at his house and shot the shit. And he seemed pretty cool. He wanted me to lay off Black Lives Matter. And I told him, I was like, yeah, we in solidarity, no doubt. But I broke my promise because I saw some fuck shit happen on the timeline, and I had to call it out. I can't be silent. He wanted me to be silent. And I'm like, like I got solidarity with you, Talib, but when I see Fuction on the timeline, I got to call it out. I called it out, and he became an enemy of mine. And make a long story short, if y'all have a run-in with him, he gonna take up your whole day if you let him. Say like, and he gonna make up lies about you, and he gonna dig into your past and try to say
he one of those then.
yeah, he really effeminate. When he's I spoke to other industry heads around him. They say that Talib Kweli is just really emotional dude. He gets in his feelings really fast. So I was wondering if you had it in with him yet. It seems like something that would be an inevitable clash. By the way,
and I think that it's going to be kind of a clash where I know it ain't going to go nowhere because I'm a type of person that's going to take it somewhere and it ain't going to be with Wi-Fi attached to it. So, and I just know how men these days are. I know the spirit behind why they do what they do and what they believe in, because like I said, he's attached to a system. He don't work no 9-to-5 job. You know what I mean? He's used as a puppet. He's used to set a certain precedence among the black community because we look up to him because as one of that 90s, the last remaining of the 90s golden age, we should listen to what he's saying, what he does, because he's, black conscious and all that. This is the new school now. This like brothers is waking up and we tired of that, sitting down talk with coffee and tea and lattes and all that shit, man. We ready to come to your house and drag you out there. So that's what some brothers are right now. Some brothers are coming into that righteousness where we tired of those puppets. We tired of hearing, so and so is linked with so and so and doing something for the black community, and then turning around and be some crazy weird stuff going on, like that whole like that that Jay-Z in the NFL, like bro, that whole shit really hurt my soul to see that, because they had Jim Brown who had the foundation American. Now you had Jim Brown, NFL, everything. You know what I'm saying? Graduated at Syracuse, played lacrosse, a real dude, was an actor. Like he was the epitome of black masculinity in the 60s. Like Jim Brown was our superhero. And you pass it off a dude who dropped out of school, don't know shit, and gotta cry behind his woman when he got caught cheating. That's what we think that is going to bring back the black community. When he sold drugs into the black community and only do things based on the profit he gets, not but the profit we get. And they passed Jim Brown over for that. Man, that really had me looking at NFL and everybody who's involved completely different. That they don't really care about black communities and all this other stuff. They, long as we running around, jumping around, and coloring up our cleats now, like that's a new thing. Like shit, I'm waiting for dudes just put on red bottoms and just run 9 routes. I'm so sick of looking at dudes coloring up their cleats and all that. That's the most effeminate, stupidest nonsense I've ever seen in my life. And dudes proud. Every other day is coming out with dudes. One Odell Beckham had Grinch shoes. The other dude had, man, just throw on some slingbacks and all that, man, and be what you really are. I'm tired of looking at these dudes' cleats and all that and thinking that's football and everybody laughing and having a good time. Oh, it means he's doing it for charity. Oh, he ain't. Look like a clown to me. Man, I'm glad I don't play football no more. It literally looks like a Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week on grass.
It's a Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week on grass.
Man, it's a dress show. It's embarrassing.
Yo, Chad, that whole last rant right there from Larry, yo, I need you to clip that. We need that clip. As soon as we get off here, yo. Chad's one of the homies. He worked with us over here. HOTEPS been told you. Ether Notes is $1.99. Super chat, thank you. She said, find the lie. Ain't none. Chad Lemoyne says NBA and NFL starting to act like soccer. John J. John J back. What up, homie? He said, yesterday I went out in New York, Black Lives Matter shirt, and pulled through 2 thick black shorties. They both said they need a couple swirl babies. You're lying, John. Stop trolling, John. Ethanosis. She says it's political blackface, Antifa. Ooh, yeah, it is. It's definitely political blackface. Let's talk about the Jay-Z deal, right? Because I want to play devil's advocate for Jay-Z, right? I'm Jay-Z. I'm an entertainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just signed a deal with Rock Nation, Live Nation. Live Nation owns all the entertainment venues or the major entertainment venues, including all the ones at Ticketmaster. They made that deal.
Mm-hmm.
My job is to grab that stage and entertain. I have title. Title part of their marketing efforts is to do events, a lot of event marketing. And Jay-Z just locked down the biggest stage on the planet, the NFL Super Bowl. That's the most important stage on the planet. And he, as an entertainer, stepped in and got that. Now, how it looks to me is a whole bunch of people fumbled the rock. And Jay-Z said, let me show you what to do with this thing. Stepped in and made a good business deal. You don't see it that way.
No, I don't see it that way. It's a business deal that's good for him to make him money, but it's a little bit more different scenario that lies behind why that deal was made. Now, mind you, it's to get you to get over Colin Kaepernick. So it's to kind of bridge that gap to get black folk to use an entertainer. So actually, he the puppet. If I'm a big 7 billion conglomerate, Jay-Z don't know power. If I want black people to get back into the good graces of the NFL to watch and get to download the packages and the streaming services, let me go get one of theirs and say that he made the deal. We'll give him that. He made the deal, and he can put whatever he want on the halftime. So basically, he has titles. So basically, he's working for the NFL. It ain't the other way around. The NFL really didn't need him, but because they wanted to bridge that gap of Colin Kaepernick and get the protesting over with, now it's all right. We get everybody back into the fold. The NFL makes more money. My annuity payments go up. So really Jay-Z ain't the mastermind of this deal. He's just working. He's the bridge gap to say it's okay. We don't have to protest the NFL anymore because now we got Jay-Z. We got that deal. And now who is his two biggest stars? Meek Mill and Meghan Trainor. Come on, bro. I mean, people don't even know who Meghan Trainor is. And Meek Mill just hasn't been popping since, he had a couple of albums ago. So what is he going to put together in this halftime show that's going to make everybody wow to go back to the NFL? I mean, I see it, but at the same time, it was just a name thing.
Well, the Meghan Trainor thing was probably an entertainment business deal behind the scenes. Like, hey, Jay, somebody made that phone call, right? Meek is Jay's guy right now.
Mm.
I think because of the what Rick Ross went through with that lyric in his music, he got a lot of backlash for that. I think Meek had to distance himself from Ross. Mm-hmm. So I think that Jay, they said, Jay, can you take Meek under your wing? And then Meek going to jail kind of turned him into a street martyr. Mm-hmm. So he hasn't had that musical buzz like, the Baby and some of these other people. Yeah. So you're right in that aspect. But, I think Meek is just there because that's Jay-Z's guy right now, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're definitely right. You think that Jay-Z should have thought of the black community instead of himself, though? Thought about the overall message and what Kaepernick was trying to put forth.
I think so, but when has Jay-Z ever thought about the black community? I mean, if you want to look at it in a literal sense, I mean, he got us to buy watches. He got us to anything he told, we bought, and we did what he did. It was nothing of that was going to help our souls or save our spirits. It was all to put money in pockets of the people who own those businesses. That's what he did. He basically was the middleman. Hey, I'm gonna make this popular, so go give them money. That's basically what he did. We were one left with the receipt. We were one left with the bill. We didn't get anything out of that whole Rockefeller thing. What did we get out of that? That helped us. We just wanted more stuff. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get anything out of that. We just wanted more things. We wanted rims, and we didn't want rims anymore. So we went back to silver. Then we wanted gold, and we didn't want gold no more. So we wanted platinum. Like I told you, man, we are the economy. We are the fool's economy. We just did whatever they thought that was going to make money for us. That's what we did.
Damon Dash, that was Jay-Z's partner. Damon Dash said Jay-Z's a worker. He took that deal with the NFL and he said He worked for the NFL now. That wasn't no boss move.
Yeah, that's like I said. He works for them. He was put in there so people could get over that whole Colin Kaepernick incident. So that's why when Jay-Z said, I think it's time to stop protesting, stop kneeling. And then you see homeboy next to him, Roger Goodell. Yeah, it's time. Like that's what it was. That was a coon move to me, because he said it, and the other dude was like, yeah, it's time to stop kneeling. That's what he wanted. They wanted him to stop protesting NFL. They wanted that. He was sitting there to say that whole thing, and then he got on. Then he did some panel discussion where he blamed black men for being too aggressive because their fathers wasn't there. So they had a disdain for authority, and that's the reason why they were getting shot in the street. Like him coming from a single parent household actually said that. And I think it was to him to try to, I'm like, what, you reaching, bro? Like your thing is not to think like we think, to be conscious. You think for yourself. So when they got him to be out there, to be that puppet, to try to bridge that gap, it looked retarded to us.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't fuck with Kaepernick at all.
I don't either, bro. I don't. You should have seen my Twitter line. I was the one that didn't like any of it.
What specifically?
I don't. It's him as what he represented as a person. You know what I'm saying? He really tried to bootleg. He tried to bootleg Black Panther. He tried to bootleg every civil rights leader and try to wrap it all up into a Kunta Kinte t-shirt. And it was disheartening, man, to watch that. To watch a dude raised by two white parents all of a sudden come into his blackness all of a sudden and try to use that movement to bring something that Twitter was already exposing. The kids were exposing those racist tweets and those videos. Those were coming from people outside the NFL arena. So that whole kneeling thing, it was just for him. It was all a scam to me.
Yeah. When I saw the Black Panther, I'm like, yo, you perpetrating a fraud. You perpetrating right now because you got your hair in an afro. You never did that before.
Mm-hmm.
You got the leather jacket on, and you just taking pictures with it. Like, the Black Panther movement isn't a costume.
Yeah.
That's not a costume. Then the Kunta Kinte shirt, I'm like, yo, Kunta Kinte is a fictional character, number one. Right? That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, stop pushing that slave mentality. Number three, he not no slave, because didn't he just take the deal from the NFL before that?
Exactly. He went to the meeting in that Kunta Kinte t-shirt to sign that deal.
So he took the payout and still claimed he was a slave.
Yeah.
Do you know how much he got in that deal? Or is it undisclosed?
They say it was undisclosed, but they supposedly said both of them got $6 million. They had to split it, but I don't think that's what the real number was. They had to make the number so low so it would dishearten anybody else that tried to sue the owners for a large amount. So if you look at it, he went through all that and he only got a little bit of millions. Like, I ain't gonna do that then. I'm just gonna go ahead and not say nothing. But that was, I knew he got paid, some type of deal to keep him from doing the same shenanigans he's doing. Like, only somebody who's not suffering from money loss or suffering to be homeless, he would be able to go to each NFL owner on their terms to practice if he really wanted to go back into the National Football League. But he don't. He did that whole thing where he had it at one facility, then moved it to another facility, and half the team showed up to see him. And it was like, it was just, you don't do that if you ain't broke.
So you think he broke?
No, I don't think he broke. Like I say, I think what he's doing right now, you rich, you got money in the bank if you're doing that.
Right.
Then he show up at these Illuminati festivals. He was at the Met Gala. He was at the Met Gala with his shorty. He ain't worrying about playing football.
Yeah. I don't think he took anything less than 20 million. I can't see a deal going for less than 20 million. 6 sounds way too low. Like you said, you'd have to be a bum on the side of the street to want to settle for 6 million.
Yeah.
That number seems really, really low.
I mean, the XFL offered them, not XFL, but that little league that they try to have, they were about to offer him 70 million to come play 2 to 3 years. And he turned that down. That was literally 2 days before he signed that deal with the NFL. So it had to be a long payout, a stretch for you to to turn down 70 million for 2 years to play in that other league.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't think he even want to play football.
No, he's not playing. Plus, I don't know why people keep asking him to come back. He wasn't a good quarterback to begin with. He got a passer rating of 70 point something. He had the lowest passer rating. You have his touchdown and interception ratio alone, he wouldn't get picked up. You wouldn't even be a free agent. He played one good year and that was it. And I think that's what the one thing I hate is that we didn't use any type of good judgment and knowing this dude's movement didn't come from the heart. It came from his own pockets. It came from his own ego. And we went on top of that and we had young kids in high school kneeling, doing what he was doing, and kids were getting kicked off teams because of what he was doing. So now, police brutality didn't just go away. Where is he now? He hasn't been vocal since. Why is he so quiet all of a sudden? Like to be a revolutionary, to be a fight in this truth, it's every day, bro. It's every day. Every time something happens, you should be on it. You should be standing. You should be taking trips. You got the money. You should be showing up with some of these families. Like the thing that happened down in Dallas. He didn't say much about that.
What happened in Dallas?
What's the name? The girl that came in and shot that dude.
I
forgot his name.
And they locked her up.
Yeah,
I know you're talking
that
about
whole thing. He didn't say much about that. But these dudes, they pick their spots of when they want to say something.
Yeah, it's kind of got to go along with the groupthink, the trend. Approved talking points.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not saying the approved talking points, then what I find is a lot of people sit back and they wait to see what the consensus is. And as long as their side is in agreement and that's like the wave, then everybody's like, oh, now I'm going to speak up because it's a popular thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like D Wade and his son, right? His son is, I don't know, identifies as a girl now or something like that.
So he said.
You don't think that's true?
I don't know, bro. It's all funny to me. But if you look, people are congratulating him or praising him to be a dad, but people literally forgot. Now, mind you, I don't know his whole family structure. I mean, he had 2 older boys, but I think the one he was going through, he divorced his baby mama to get with Gabby. Then he broke up her because he cheated and had a baby by another chick. So that whole household sounds a mess to me. So who's really raising the youngest one? All the other ones are old enough to be the man of their own. So if, say, for instance, he was young enough to be always left with the mother, and that traumatized somebody being divorced and going through a divorce and not really seeing their dad or being around their dad because they're playing NBA games literally feel like half the year, he's going to be with the mother more often, wouldn't you think? So who your personality is going to kind of draft into because of that, because there's a broken home there. He's going to get with the mom. He's going to have some of that feminine energy. So that is what his comfort level is being with that feminine energy. And you really didn't call your son no she until recently. So like I told you, you think about, like I said, this whole agenda of putting the feminine over the masculine and using the black masculine man to degrade himself or emasculate his own home so everybody else follows suit. He really is just a propaganda tool to get black men to be like, you know what? It's okay if my son would be a she. It's okay. It's okay to forget what God says. Do what you want. Like they're praising Dwayne Wade for it. They're giving him a show deal on TNT, and he get to do whatever he want. So maybe people will praise me for letting my son want to be painting nails and all that.
What does God say about this?
Like the cowardly, the effeminate, the ones who sleep with the same sexes get the lake of fire. I mean, This is not something I play around with. Like, if you look at every kingdom in the Bible, from ancient Egypt to Babylon to Sodom and Gomorrah, they were all destroyed because of the homosexuality was getting way out of control. And I'm not saying that I'm against homophobia. No, I'm telling you the spirit behind homosexuality is a spirit of lust. So if you cannot quench lust, So in those days of Noah, they were having sex with animals. They were having sex with their own children. And that what brought God's wrath. And it's going to bring it again. We just ain't there yet. But if you see the agenda of now getting you to sexualize children, that's going to be going with, they wouldn't be tired of doing that. Now we're going to look at animals. Why do you think that Cats movie was made? Everybody hated that Cats movie because they couldn't see the genitals of the animals. That was the main talking point of that whole movie. They couldn't see anything. So if you understand the mentality, if you really understand the mentality of lust and human nature, it don't stop with men sleeping with men sleeping with children. It goes further into that. It goes into something else. So what Dwayne Wade is doing is basically helping you usher in the normalcy of a mental illness, because they don't bring up all the transsexuals that literally commit suicide or attempted suicide because of gender identity issues. That never gets talked about, but that is a real fact.
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. They even say, black men are so violent, da 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 da. So I went and did the numbers and found out that the domestic disputes are much higher amongst homosexual couples than they are amongst heterosexual couples.
Exactly.
Same sex beating on same sex. You mentioned the pedophilia. There's a NAMBLA organization, North American Man Boy Love Association, and you'll find them in 90s LGBT organization parades and so forth. And so, the Hotep community, the HOTEPS, are known for exposing that. You're familiar with the work of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Neely Fuller and them, and they said about the effemination of the black man. But they said, like you said, the next step is pedophilia and then bestiality, right? That's where we're heading here.
Yeah.
So where are we right now? So we're at the LGBT spot. So the next thing is normalizing pedophilia, right?
And I think that is because they're gonna raise their hand like, well, I want my rights too. As soon as they pass a lot of trans rights and all that, and more rights as far as marriage amongst trans couples and all that, that's going to be the next thing, because it's inevitable for them to stand up and say, well, we want our slice of the pie too. We feel like we can't control this. This is who we are. We're born this way. So how about you not track us and call us sex offenders anymore, so you don't know where we're at, and just let us do. We're not hurting anybody as long as love is love. And I think that is what we're going to get to. They did the same nonsense in Greek and Roman culture, when most of those senators and all that had young boys and young Greek boys and all that. This is all we doing is repeating history, but we got technology, so we're repeating it faster, and we're just trying to get to our own destruction faster.
Ethanosis. Michael Jackson already said they don't really care about us. NFL rock rats. Larry is great. Thank you, Ether. John J. Great show tonight, guys. And by the way, hell no, I ain't pull no black chicks. Race mixing is kind of cringe. John J. is shot out. That's one of the OGs. He's been around since Hotep's been told you, like episode 4 or something. Like
What episode you on now?
We just did 80 this week. Yeah, which reminds me, I want you to be our celebrity special guest next week. And basically what we do is we take all the events of the week and then we give our thoughts on them.
Okay.
Rapid fire style. So we'll go from one topic to the next. I'll give my take. Uncle Hotep give his take. Then you give your take. And it lets people see how we analyze certain events in the media.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds dope.
So that would be dope to have you on for that. New York has had a recent rise in violence amongst the Jewish community.
It's gonna be this is gonna be the cherry on top of this one. All right, go ahead.
We saw some stabbings in Monse. RIP to the victims. My condolences to the victims. A lot of people think that this is targeted harassment of the Jewish population in New York City. They think it's some sort of new crime wave. They're not sure why Black people are upset. Can you give some context to these events or background?
Well, I would say the Jersey shooting got muffled there was a city official who was explaining the shooting and said actors. He didn't say shooters. He said actors. He's got caught saying actors. They basically are now, because they know the truth is coming out, and there's a lot of camps. The Hebrew Israelite camps are going around preaching in different cities, and I think they're generating such a buzz that you have to discredit them by making being anti. That's their go-to. Is if you say anything about the Jewish community, you're anti-Semite, you lose your life, you lose opportunities. That has been their favorite lie. That was been the favorite thing they've used to keep people from not exposing the truth. And because now it's now coming out, they're trying to demonize the Israelites by a man and a black man and a black woman was in their own hood is going to shoot up a Jewish bakery. Even the story don't even sound right. So even when you look at the tape, you couldn't see who they were. Now you talking about two black people, a black and female, got two, heavy automatic guns and all that, and just going to shoot up a deli. And then you got this guy that went into supposedly he was deranged, a Methodist guy would go into a Jewish community and just randomly open up a door and stab up a dude, and beat him up. These stories, and it's only in New York, so they're trying to make it seem like there's a rise, or there's a, I don't know how the proper word to say it.
Uprising.
Yeah, they're uprising. I just think it's these things they're making to kind of push down who the real Jews are. And I think brothers are finding out that they're not. And like I said, most of them are Sephardic, Ashkenaz. They come from Europe. They come from Turkey. They come from Russia. And they are converts. Now, a lot of them call the Ashkenazi Jews, I explained to you, they are the sons of Japheth. They're the descendants of Japheth. So they can't be the original Israelites. That's why they don't call themselves Israelites. They call themselves Jewish because they practice Judaism. They call them, if they come from Israeli, they sell themselves Israelis. They don't call themselves Israelites. God is only concerned with the Israelites. So they have to continue to tell you this lie that they are God's chosen people, so you don't expose them for what they do. A lot of our wars, a lot of our back and forth with each other, they are the ones that collect the money from it. Look at the rap industry, the hip hop music industry. We don't own any of that stuff. The Jews own it. So if I'm a Jewish person and I want to keep you from knowing who you really are, I'm going to pay Megan Thee Stallion to get up there, shake her butt. I'm going to pay Lizzo to cut a hole in her sweatshirt and go to an NBA game and twerk in front of everybody. I'm going to continually to put different images in front of you to keep you away from finding out who you really are. That is why they do that. And I think that's why you see a lot of uprising, again, people being anti-Semites. Like, come on, the most frailest, non-aggressive people, black people, that's who we think we're going to go. No, that's not our issue. That's not even our agenda that we go against. We'll stand up against police brutality, but why would we go into why would we in our own neighborhoods go specifically into Jewish areas and shoot them up? The most non-violent type of people. So it has to be something behind that, and it's the truth that they don't want you to find out, that there's no such thing as being an anti-Semite.
It sounds to me you're saying that you question these events and the validity behind them, and you're tying that to an agenda to mask the fact that the so-called black man and woman are the real Hebrew Israelites.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why they cover. That's why they cover it up. If you look at the lie that they keep putting in front of us, if you look at what they do, like Donald Trump signed some anti-Semite thing. Like, why would he need to do that now? The truth is coming out. Why would he need to do that? Brothers wasn't talking about being Hebrew Israelites 10, 15 years ago. But because brothers are coming up to this truth and finding out who they are, it now has to be silenced. It has to be. So now everything is black Hebrew Israelites, as we like. There's a militant gang going around yelling and shooting Jewish places up. What all these brothers are doing are on the streets preaching gospel. That's all they doing. They doing it aggressively. They doing it with cursing and calling people, calling white people Edomites and the devil and all that. But they're very nonviolent. They're just preaching the word. If you didn't like what they say, you could just walk past them. You don't have to pay them in attention. But people are paying attention because there's something in their ears that they hear it they hear that some of the truth is coming out. And I think I really challenge all of that. Anything that's in the news right now, I really challenge it because I see something deeper behind that.
Yeah, yeah. So I just want to clarify some things you said. Trump did sign an executive order to combat anti-Semitism at colleges, and basically, I believe if your college has any instance of anti-Semitism, they risk losing funding. And then there's another, I believe it was an executive order, I'm not sure, but to classify Jews as a nationality.
Yeah, it's how can you do that?
You can't do
Like,
that, right?
no, like how can you do that? Like, how you can't? That doesn't even make sense. It don't make sense. That's like if you classified Catholics as a nationality. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
you're trying to see. This is what the trick of I told you. The devil has to counterfeit everything that's in the Bible. So his people, which are the Jews, his people, he has to solidify that, because now we are coming back to who we are as a nation. So he has to try to defeat that by creating a nation out of Judaism, out of a religion. You're trying to nationalize a religion. It makes no sense to me. Everybody knows who the biblical. Some people know who the biblical people are. Some people don't. But you can't nationalize a religion. It makes no sense why he would do that. But like you said, colleges use funding, but people have been making weird videos doing blackface, saying nigga in universities. We just laughed at it. We get them kicked out of school, but they don't lose funding.
Yeah, Syracuse just had a sit-in a couple of weeks ago where there was some taunts of anti-Semitism and racism and anti-Asianism, I guess we call it if you say something bad about Orientals.
Yeah.
If I can use that word, I don't even know what's politically correct to be. But you're right, there was no threatening of funding going away for that.
I think this whole political correctness thing is really going to be the death of America, because pronouns is going to come right underneath that, where we can't call people who they really are. Like, we won't be able to say he and she anymore. If you wanted to be called they, I have to call you they, or I'll risk being sued or risk being locked up or going to jail. That's where we're heading. We're heading where pronouns are going to take over, and you're not going to be able to call anybody anything. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I feel like I'm just gonna call everybody dumbass, because I feel like that's non-gendered, or like that's whatever they call it, non-binary or whatever that is. There's no sex attached to that. Just call everybody dumbass.
Noah he picked 2 of each species, not 20. We got some super chats here. Drew Sample, he said, I think giving children sex hormones also seems to have an aspect of population control. Those children will never be able to reproduce.
Yeah.
Interesting theory. Black Mount Hotep, what up, homie? He said, this is a move to get all pro-black or adjacent groups banned entirely. That's a good one, man. What do you think about that? Basically, even when we had the Black Panthers popping up, the FBI papers basically said we have to quell any chances of a rising of a black nation. I think that's what's happening today, where not only the Hebrew Israelites are under fire, but they don't want any type of nationality. They don't want white nationalists popping up, and they don't want no black nationalists. But some people are exempt from this rule and get to create their own nationality. John Jay actually corrected me. He said they're considered their own ethnicity now, aka nationality.
Yeah. I think that's the most thing they fear. I just don't understand why we as a race and a culture do not understand. We are the ones that they fear. For us to wake up and band together and actually come to some foreknowledge. Why do you think all of our stars or artists are who they are and what they do? That's how you know that they're really reaching to keep us dumbed down and brainwashed. We are already coming into our own knowledge of each other. We're already respecting each other, even if we have different values and views. We we are still showing solidity that we're not out here bashing each other on purpose or bringing each other down. I think that's what they fear, is that we are starting to come into our own where we no longer need their system. See, they have to have us need them. We have to be the ones that's buying everything. We have to hate ourselves to rely on their products. Like, it hurts my heart to see all these sisters with wigs when they have perfectly fine, good hair. But that's the lie they push in front of you, that you are no longer happy with your own self, that you have to pay so much, all these money on these wigs that brothers don't even care if you bald headed. Like, this is that's why I don't understand. Like, we are the ones who are consuming this madness that they push in front of us, because we keep this economy going. If we just draw back and just gave to ourselves and worry about ourselves, we wouldn't need them. Their whole system would fall. Who would they preach to? Who would they have people show up in? Like, who would they have? What artists would they have to show that hypersexuality if we wanted to be conservative? Who would they sell their products to? Nobody.
Nobody else would accept it.
Nobody else accept it. We the pop culture. We set the trends. We are the market. If we wanted to crash it right now, we could crash this market and pull back. Don't buy nothing. Don't do nothing. Everybody stop playing football. Everybody stop playing basketball. If we just stop, say if you had a remote control, stop, this whole world was shut down. What would they do? They wouldn't know what to do.
I always wonder, like, what would happen if the NFL players decided just one Sunday, and I'm not even saying the whole NFL, like just half the teams, right? One half of the league decided we ain't showing up. A quarter of the league, we ain't showing up today. What would happen to this nation?
Bro, they were brought that collective bargaining agreement to the stadium and try to get us to sign the deal before we left up out of there. That's how much power we could have.
They'd come to the table?
Oh, come to the table. They would bring the table to us with a feast and ask us what we want, sir. What we want, sir. We could run things, but guys don't see it that way. Guys so scared to show some type of power, some type of like standing up, because we so trapped into a system. We scared that we could lose it all. We could lose our life, but we don't understand that we are protected by a power higher than ourselves. If we really just rely on that, that's what they want. They want us to rely on their system,
right? And use our energy.
And use our energy
for their system.
Yeah.
For their machine. We're the battery for their machine. Yeah,
exactly. And I wish that we would wake up and start treating each other with a little bit more respect and stop trying to use this divisive technique that every time an artist or celebrity gets online and posts a story and we just jump on whatever they believe, and then we at each other talking about we hate our own kind. Like, that's really damaging. And they sit back and watch this. Like, well, look at this. They hate each other and watch they go get a chicken sandwich next week and then kill each other over it.
You talking about what Ari Lennox was talking about with the whole Rottweiler situation.
Yeah. Like, that's what it makes no sense to me. Oh, I'm tired of black men hating black women and calling them animals. Like, bruh, black women are out here calling themselves animals. There's no accountability when it comes to these blacks. See, the thing is with this, they want to be able to do whatever they want and not be accountable, and we are supposed to protect them regardless. It's not how this works.
That's a bar.
This is not how this works. It's not how this works. It's not set up this way. If you want a black man to be your covering, to stand up for you and all that, we will do that. If you stop relying on their system to show out and show an image that is not yourself, then we will be fighting for you. If we see you fight that system and not gravitate to it, we will fight that. We would go tooth and nail to fight for you, to keep you under our wing, to keep you protected. But it seems like you want to be a mockery. You want to show your ass. You want to be a sex object. We're not looking for that. It looks like you fine doing whatever you want to do. So why would we protect you? You're not showing that you need protected. We're not going to stand up and protect you for doing this foolishness that you want to do and think that we're supposed to come run behind you and say, oh, let's just let you do whatever you want with no accountability. No, because you hold us accountable. When we have your babies, you hold us accountable. Yeah. So let's keep it 100. Let's keep it even.
Yeah, it seems like most of the women that are complaining, like you said, are like some of the most privileged. Like, they're the ones that are part of the system. They're blue checked up. They're working with Hollywood. They're getting Hollywood checks, or they're getting TV checks, or whatever these checks are, they are integrated into this system, and they want us to protect us while they're integrated. But it's like you got to pick one or the other, baby.
Exactly, and like I said, follow the money. Who's paying them to do this? They don't just do this on their own. They are getting paid to show a specific image in the black community, especially to black women. This is how you should act. And they have young girls, 15, 14, 13, acting the way they do, hypersexualized. Why do you think police treat us the way they do? Why they treat young girls like they're grown women? Because they see us doing it. You talking about, oh, I'm tired of black men calling black women animals. Didn't Cardi B have a twerk video where they dressed and painted themselves up as cats and lions and then get on the ground twerking? You don't think the enemy you don't think they see this and laugh at us that we stoop this low to want to do that? And you want to be covered? I'm sorry, it do not work that way. It's embarrassing for us, because when we cuff you up, everybody's laughing at us like, damn, you wife that? Like, you dumb.
But Larry, they're just entertainers. It's just entertainment.
We always use that excuse when it comes to us. It's always entertainment, but they did that to slaves when slaves would get up there and sing and dance and violin. That was just entertainment too. We always been entertainers as slaves. We've always been in the big house entertaining,
dancing for massa.
Dancing for massa. And some of our women were sleeping for massa. That was entertainment too.
Oh Lord, come on, man.
we won't go there. We won't get into buck breaking. I can go into buck breaking if you want to go into buck breaking, because that's what this system is. If LeBron James on down is buck breaking. You can't say this. You can't say that. You got to get on your knees for this. It's the same thing. Why do you think they emasculate everything? Why Billy D. Williams, the brother from Mahogany, talking about he had masculine and feminine energy all of a sudden? Bro, you 70. You in your 70s. How do you now just find out you have your feminine side? Then you had Tank. Tank. Why would Tank, a married man, get on an interview and say, yeah, sucking somebody's D 2 times don't make you gay? Why would you say that as a married man? Why would you say that? If I was your wife right now, I would have you checked. Because you think about that and not think about me that you married, then you suspect. But this is what buck breaking is, to emasculate you and discredit you and humiliate you in front of your own people, and we call it entertainment.
This is buck breaking, modern day buck breaking. Damn, you right. They got white men scared to speak up. You say something to white men, but they're gonna call me racist. So what, motherfucker? Speak up.
Yeah, exactly. They use these terms. Like they tried it on me, but it didn't work. See, this is what they do when you speak up on Twitter, and you go against their little system and say like homosexuality and anything you say about any other celebrity, they'll have you trend. So all the blue check mark from that community come get you. So when you stand through that storm, they stop putting you on Front Street because you could stand that fire. So they went after me and knew I don't buckle. They try to do with Black Twitter when it came to Dwayne Wade, and they put me on BET on them websites. I didn't even buckle. I'm like, all right, I said what I said. Now they hated they did it. All they did was gravitate people who thought like me to me. They helped me out. So that's why people should start standing up in what they believe in, because trust me, it's going to be people who want that truth just like you want that truth. And they don't stand for some of this nonsense that's been shoveled to our community either.
You right. I always wondered, like, because people be like, yo, how come you don't get attacked like that? And I'm like, yo, I did at one point get attacked. And you're right. I weathered the storm. I stood 10 toes down. Mm-hmm. And now they don't bother me no more because they know that they'll end up. You're right. God damn, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
They would be scared. Like, what do you think they're gonna do, bro? Like I told you, like, if you are in this truth, and that's the one thing they hate, righteousness. So if they came after you, they don't want to make you a martyr, because then you become bigger than them. They have to have you discredit yourself. They rather you fall on your own. But when they come for you, you are righteous. You up there. Now they draw you, then they put you up here when they really come get you. And now people are like, yo, you remember Hotep Jesus? That dude, like, your name lasts longer than theirs. That's what they're afraid of. So that's when they try you and you fold, that's when they know they got you. But when you don't fold, they'll leave you alone after a while. They'll leave you alone after a while.
See, that's more reason I think a lot of people need to stand up. You know, like what you just said right there. When you stand 10 toes down, they're gonna come for you. But when they see that you ain't budging, they're gonna leave you alone. Cause they scared of that. They scared of that masculine energy.
And that's why I tell people when I used to try to preach to people on Twitter, I would tell young kids like, yo, if anything in your past, bring it out. Bring it on Front Street. Be proud that you went through struggle. Because this is when they start digging in your past, like they do, they dig in it and they throw it in front of your face, hoping that you'll be scared. You'll be scared of your own growth and cower back. Man, if you went through something, you went to jail, you got arrested. If you did anything, bro, bring it to the front and say, I'm glad this is what happened to me, and this is how I learned from it. And trust me, you take the power away from them. This whole society is set up for you blackmailing. That's all they do. They blackmail you. They dig and find stuff from you, and then they bring it out to you. Then you got to do the whole Kevin Hart, I'm sorry apology. Then you got to keep doing the apology. Like, bro, do it once and sit down somewhere. But that's what they get you to do. They get you scared of your own past. And people, that's the power. Own your past.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important for young men and women. You know, I grabbed this young black couple. I pulled them to the side. One of them's 20, the other one's 18. I pulled them to the side. And I said, listen, don't do what Hotep Jesus do. Hotep Jesus is, I'm about to turn 40 years old. My income is good. Where I'm going is set. Y'all got a lot of life to live. Don't be out here saying certain things on the internet that could fuck up what you got going on in your future. Focus on your books and your profession and stuff like that, because they're looking for anything to try and blackmail you on. So I wanted the youth to just be careful, speak up for what you believe in. Absolutely. Just be careful what you say until you are independent and you're not living underneath mamas.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't get a job and you really you're around a certain demographic and you just go off and tweet. Don't lose your job. Don't be stupid, man. Don't lose your job, but obviously learn how to play the system and learn how to, move in and out. Like, it'll help you to learn to move that way. So then when you get into a set to be independent, you're able to voice a little bit more. And then when you get your power back in a little bit, that's all it is. Once you being independent and getting your power back is the key to being able to stand up and really stand for something. But you have to go through those grinds of relying on people, relying on staying quiet and moving. But that's how you learn how the process works. That's how you learn the system by doing it that way. And then exactly what'll hurt them when you come out to that truth.
Word. Hell yeah. What's in store for us for 2020?
I think 2020, you're going to actually, like we said, there's a lot of things that's going to happen. It's going to happen quickly. 2020 is going to be, people are going to show who they really are if you pay attention. You're going to see a lot of silliness. You're going to see a lot of repetitive stuff that they've been trying to push on this generation for years. You're going to see a lot more hypersexuality. You're going to see a lot more symbolism. You're going to see a lot more lies and deceit. We're going to go back and forth with this Kuwait-Iraq thing all the way through to the next president. They have to, this is how they make their money. This is how they make their money, is to talk about wars and get people into wars to get you away from what's coming next. But this is how they do it. So I think people really need to stay sharp, because now the lies going to pile up. You don't know. We're going to be like, yo, man, forget them Kuwaiti dudes, But we don't understand that our dollar is suffering. And I think that they are trying to hide the fact that China, Russia, and all the rest of these oil billionaires are going away from our dollar and going into the Chinese currency. And I think that's what we are afraid of. But we're going to try to sell the American public that going over there is a good thing. So you got to stay sharp.
Yeah. So let's dive into that. Recently, we had the U.S. embassy in Iraq was attacked. And then allegedly We went over and killed the general,
Yeah.
Iranian general. What's your take on all of that?
I feel like that happened way too fast. Like it just came into the new year and then boom boom. Like usually, when we about to do something, we start them threats. Like look at the whole North Korea thing. It was threats, back and forth, back and forth. Come to the table, not come to the table. Threats, threats. Like I feel like they had this plan for almost a year or two now, that this was going to happen to 2020. That this is what we're going to do to save Trump's administration. Is we gotta come out there firing. And I think that the fact that general got killed and now we're going to send troops this weekend, I feel like that this was already planned up. They were already ready to go with this. They just needed the green light. And I think this year coming into it was what's going to have to solidify Trump being elected again. Because now we see him you see them already trying to make the Osama bin Laden link. Oh, this guy was more terrible than Osama, da-da-da-da. So he going to be like, that's how Barack Obama became popular, because he killed Osama bin Laden. So now that's going to be Trump's Osama. They're already pushing that agenda. That is the same guy.
Bush got Saddam, and Barack got Gaddafi.
Yeah,
that was brutal when Obama got Gaddafi. That was
they
crazy.
got him.
They did him dirty. You know, I was talking to a young brother today. He was like, "Yo, what's up with your boy Trump?" I'm like, what's up with him? He like, yo, we going to war with Iran and Iraq. I'm like, nigga, you know how old that war is? Like,
that war been happening. People don't understand because you don't see it on TV. We been over there. Like we been trying to get up over there. Like this ain't like Barack when they had that money problem of going back with that money in Iran and all that. This stuff been happening. People just say, I don't know. If people just watch TV all the time, you're not going to see these things coming. But people who are understanding in the know and look at different alternative news channels, you've seen this was already going to come.
Yeah, this was pre-planned before Trump got in there.
Yeah, they knew that. This is like, I don't understand how people get so upset and involved with these things. These things have been planned out decades ago. They know exactly what they're doing. We the only ones dumb enough to sit here like, World War III, Bro, I'm like, this is like 1990s, bro. I'm about to get my little yellow ribbon and my Desert Storm t-shirt out. Shoot.
Yeah, Desert Storm. I remember Desert Storm, man. I was in high school and that shit was going down.
Man, we watched that joint on TV like every week. It was something popping off. Watching the Scud missiles flying over. I'm like, it's popping over there.
It seemed like it was like another reality show, that war. That war was like, they made it seem fun for us. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the impression I got. Like, oh, look how powerful our military was. It was like a display of our military might.
Mm-hmm. They had that, what's that general's name? Damn, I can't even.
Oh, the U.S. general.
Yeah.
Colin Powell.
Nah, it was Colin Powell and the other dude. What's the other white dude's name?
Oh, man. I know the chat would know. I know who you talking about.
Yeah, they built them up as some heroes. They was like no nonsense, no games. They went in and got Saddam's son. It was like, it was a thing.
Oh yeah. They went in there. They said, "Oh, they got weapons of mass destruction," and then come to find out it was nothing. The funny thing about the Iran thing is everybody telling on themselves because they saying, "Oh well, Obama sold them the weapons." And now Trump's going over there and attacking them. So Trump's undoing what? Don't you know that Obama sending the weapons over there was the setup? So we had a reason to go in later.
Right. I don't understand this. It's like you don't understand how we help, like in the whole Afghanistan thing. Like, who you think trained the Taliban? Who you think trained these people? They in the desert, fam. Why don't we, like this whole thing with ISIS? Yo, they showed a promotional video of ISIS, and I swear to you not, these brothers was doing flip rolls over a 3-foot hill. And we were supposed to scare these dudes. They got no military, they have no like tanks, no air power, no nothing. How is these dudes the most scariest dudes out there? We out here making enemies so we can go over there. Like, it makes come on, bro. We the most powerful people. Those people got no business being on the level of what we are.
That's a fact. You got Hillary Clinton, I think it was 60 Minutes. I forget what it was, but she did some interview and she was like, oh, yeah. She admitted it right on camera. She said Norman Schwarzkopf. That was the
Yeah,
name.
that's
That's the
who it
guy.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew the
Norman
chapter name.
Storman. Norman, I think they call him.
Yeah, Storm Norman.
Norman
Word.
Norman.
Yeah. Um. Um. What was I saying?
Hillary Clinton.
I said who? Clinton. Oh
Hillary
yeah,
Clinton.
Clinton. Yeah, Clinton. She said we armed Al Qaeda. She
Mm-hmm.
admitted it. We armed and trained Al Qaeda forces. Then years later, we come back. Oh, Al Qaeda's a big mess. We got to go get Al Qaeda. And then you got motherfuckers. A few years later, here we are arguing. Oh, Trump is starting a war. or so do you believe the embassy story that we were attacked at the embassy?
Bro, I don't know. These stories come out so fast and quick. You assume that it happened, but bro, that thing could have been burnt down, and we wouldn't even know about it. It could have been already attacked.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
It happened too fast. Like the embassy attack. 2 days later, the dude died. 3 days now, we're gonna send people to the military for this weekend. It happened too fast.
Yeah, because the reports came out that Trump said Happy New Year, which was basically the threat. Mm-hmm. And then the next day they said rockets fell on Iraqi airport. And then the next report was that it was General Suleiman or whatever his name was. Do you think that there's some sort of connection between this guy's last name Suleiman and Solomon of Babylon? Is there some biblical reflections that could take place there?
I don't know. You bring up a good point because it is kind of weird how they talk through messages. And if you took Kanye doing the whole Babylon to King Nebuchadnezzar, it's a lot of that driving into it. It's like they're trying to talk to each other, but they're doing it or whether in an email or a text, they do it through how they report things. And it could be looked at it that way, but you know what I mean? But you don't know until you see the full picture, until you hear it again. Then you're like, all right, this is what they're really trying to push. But yeah, it does seem like that when you pay attention to it.
Yeah, I saw the Suleiman name, and the first thing when I heard it, I'm like, man, that sounds a lot like Solomon. I gotta ask Larry if there's anything there, any connection, because they might be trying to pull some symbolism thing with the fall of Babylon, because that whole region is ancient Persia. Iran. That's the Persians.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Persians expelling. I don't know.
And they're trying to rebuild that the Solomon's Temple and all that. Right. Really trying to rebuild that at the same time. So it's a lot. Like I said, it's a lot going on. I said, 2020, you're gonna see some stuff come to life that you ain't believe you was gonna see. Like when our grandmother said we living in our last days, bro, it's at the door.
So there's no hope. There's no coming back.
Ain't nobody coming back for this one. We going exactly where we wanted our this generation to go. We getting exactly what we asked for.
So let's split this two ways. We got America that includes all races. Then we got Black America. What's the future of Black America? And then what's the future for all of America?
I think the future for Black America really stands with you actually not always agreeing to the ways of America society. I think Black America saves themselves by distancing themselves from the ideology of America as a whole. And I'm not saying that we do Black nationalists or whatever. I'm just saying to start pulling back from certain traditions that's not really meant for us. Meant for our survival. We really need to start understanding our community a lot better. Because when it goes downhill, there's going to be two different punishments, and Americans going to get punished one way. But if Black America don't wake up and step away from when that stick comes down, then we can save ourselves.
You bring up something which is a great point. I'm teaching my daughter and raising my daughter. She's at the age of 16, so I'm bringing her into this adult life and teaching her about life more and more. And we're studying Murray Rothbard. Shout out to Chad for recommending that. Principles in there are great. I had already understood him, but the way he lays them out is just wonderful. He talks about anatomy of the state. And when he talks about anatomy of the state, he talks about how they use the idols you know, like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Abraham Lincoln, and this idea of patriotism to keep people glued into the idea of the necessity of the state. Because he says, in order for the state to exist, you must first remove the idea of other alternatives, create fear, saying that, you know, the fear of the unknown, what would life be like without the state? And then also saying that the state is inevitable. A lot of people will say, well, if there, you know, if there was anarchy, you know, there would still be a state. A state would come around sometime later anyway. So the idea of the state is inevitable. This is how the state exists. And one of those things they do is making these quote unquote ancestors heroes and creating this idea of fake patriotism. And when I think about white folks in America, I think that they have to lose this idea of patriotism if they want to save themselves, because America is a corporation. It is not a nation. So when you say black folks need to divest from this idea of an American, I agree. I agree. This thing of America ain't for us. All right.
We like he says, we're in the land of our captivity. Why would this nation ever be for us? You could tell all the time that it's not for us. They'll let a couple of us rise, but that's only to baby us, to pacify us, to not really uprising. And I don't think white America wants to look at themselves and understand where they're at right now. This whole system has been founded on Freemasonry and Britain. That is where it's at right now. And white folk don't want to come to it nationally then thinking that it's all for them. It is not. It is not. Like, people have an allegiance to somebody, and it ain't white folk. And it definitely ain't us, but we the ones that know that. You know what I'm saying? When George Washington and all of them set up this place, you think they set it up as a Protestant church, or they set it up for the religious and the Christian white man to survive in this system? They did not. This system was set up by Freemasonry so they can worship whatever they wanted to worship, like it back in pagan Babylon, and to fool you into thinking it is for you. You just see the lies are kind of creeping out against white America right now. See, this whole Trump, that's why I like this Trump presidency, because you really exposing who you are or who you always have been. And we just sat there and told you this. You thought that we were just being lazy and not wanting to play with the team and all that. No, we was telling you, y'all better watch out, because it's gonna come back on you, and it's coming back on them.
I mean, you hit it right on the nail when you said Freemasonry. You know, Freemasonry was so apparent in American politics at one point that there was a political party called the Anti-Masons. The Anti-Masons. And when I found that out, I was like, holy shit. And the way that they played that off was I want to say it was Jackson, but I could be wrong. But what they did was they had him run under the platform of anti-Mason. So they split the vote, right? So it was, you knew that one candidate was a Mason. Then I think it was the president that was the guy that was running was anti-Mason. And then you had the anti-Mason, the actual party. So what they did was they had him run as if he was anti-Mason. The anti-Mason party lost their candidate, and then they were left with, you know, the lesser of two evils at the end of the day, and the Masons win again. But that's a lot of history that people don't want to accept because the liberal indoctrination at the public school system level.
Well, they own that too. It goes all the way up. It goes right through the Catholic Church, right on up to the Jesuits, and it goes right. But the thing about Freemasons is really funny to me when they get a lot of these now black celebrities involved. Freemasonry started as soon as Noah's sons got off that boat. That's where Freemasonry started. It started within the sons of Ham. Started that whole Freemasonry thing. It's from Egypt and all that. That's where it started from. It started from us, black folk. White folk took that. Albert Pike, Adams Weishaupt took that and made it into their own with the Scottish Rites and all that other stuff. Then they tricked black people into, bro. It's such a weird trip that even black people do not want to wake up to the whole society that they're in It's made by us, but you serve who you serve in it. Like, bro, when you wake up to that, when you be like, yo, I could just make my own thing. The boule that it's all from us, but it's all to keep us in a system of control to think that they started everything, they created everything, so that we fall victim to it.
Yeah, all them symbols. When we look at Washington D.C., Washington D.C. was designed by George Washington Carver. With the obelisk on one side representing the male energy, and the Oval Office representing the female energy. This is old. Masonry science.
And that's what, when you tell people that on Twitter, but when you tell white folk that on Twitter, they do not want to believe that, boy. It's like you could show the design of the damn city, and they still do not want to believe that they Luciferians. Like, I don't know how to put this to you. Like, it's Luciferians. They worship Lucifer the light bearer. I don't like you tell them that it don't compute. They still think this is America's Second Amendment, muskets in hand, and the redcoats are coming. They still stuck in that era, and they don't not understand the system behind that. It's amazing to me.
They were never taught that the soldiers in the Civil War never wanted to fight in the Civil War. They were forced to fight that war. White men were forced, practically like slaves to go fight that war. Even Robert E. Lee said, yo, I don't want to fight this war. He himself said it, and they put him up on the pedestal.
Then they like, we wanted to fight for our own freedom. Like, all right, go get, they don't want to do it. Let them go do it first. Let them be the front line.
That's what they were saying. They said, this is the boule. This is the rich folks fight. This ain't got nothing to do with us. Y'all got the beef. And they grabbed poor folk and made us fight, and then gave us, and then years later they brainwashed white America. What we call this boomerism. These kids, these cats, a lot of cats are boomers. They grew up on the TV. They grew up, and they were probably one of the most brainwashed generations of propaganda. They brainwashed by the Cold War propaganda, tail end of the World War II propaganda. They've been through it all. The development of propaganda,
started with that generation.
Like they were some of the earliest test subjects. So when you say some of this stuff to them, also Murray Rothbard says, in order for the state to exist, the people have to resist all conspiracy theories. And that's what we are. We're the conspiracy theory. We're the ones that are going to dig deeper. So the people have to ignore us and discredit us. You see that a lot with white America. I have a large white following. I've cultivated it to be a high IQ, high informed white following. So a lot of my followers, they know what the deal is. But there is a large segment of MAGA that'll be in your mentions like, what are you talking about, Larry? That's YouTube garbage.
But they listen to ABC, Fox. I mean, it's like all those. Who you think they are owned by? Who you think these media conglomerates are owned by? You think they go out there and really want to tell you the truth?
Same motherfuckers that sent us in the war.
Exactly. It's to get you dumbed down and be like, America. And you out there fighting and killing, and don't even know where you at. You in Africa somewhere. Be like, how'd I get over here?
Got us fighting a whole nother war.
Like, yo, you think you going to Kuwait, bro? You about to end up in Bangladesh somewhere. You're like, where am I here for? I thought I was here to get, fight for America. The threats. You sitting up in oil field somewhere. I don't know where you at. Like, it's like I love them because they so gung ho. Like when this war pop off, this civil war pop off, I'm gonna be around some MAGA people because I know them conservatives. They pack heat, and they know they got them. They ain't giving up them guns. I don't care what you tell them. They are not giving up them guns. You got to go to their house, into their garages to get them guns from them. They ain't not giving up nothing. You come to that liberal party, they just want to have sex in the streets because that's basically the rules they passing. New York, they trying to get prostitution. Seattle is trying to legalize where a woman can walk around topless in a park.
Yeah. So that's another thing, like with this whole MAGA Trump thing. I be telling black folks like, y'all hate Trump so much, y'all keep. I'm like, yo, this ain't even our war. This ain't even our fight. This is white people fight.
I be trying to tell them, like, bro, just be glad this conservatism is just popping off for just a little bit, because you do not want the liberals have more years than they had, bro. It's gonna be. I'm telling you, I tell people, parents, this all the time. I said, bro, it's gonna get to a point where pedophiles gonna have a law under them, and you gonna find out that they touched your child, and you go beat this dude up. Then you infringe on his rights. You in jail for the rest of your life because you beat up somebody who had rights, that he had a right to do this. I said, you guys, you should be really basking in this Trump era right now, because then you see a lot and understand a lot. You do not want that liberal party to get in it more years than they have, because they're going to let that floodgate of signing every law that's going to protect the other side from going at your child. They're going to teach your child same-sex marriages. They're going to do that at a younger age, and you won't be able to do nothing. You take your child out of school, they'll send you to jail for trying to homeschool your child. I said, Black America better start waking up to what's really going on. You really want to be that whole Barack, Joe Biden party because you felt some type of identity that you were winning. You losing. You getting fooled. You know what I mean? You're doing it at the expense of your own children, because they want to teach your children sex at 2. Whatever type of sex. They already having videos about masturbation and all this, trying to teach your young child how to pleasure themselves already. And you think like, oh, this, we do whatever we want. It's all about love. Yeah, they love pedophilia. They love, indoctrinating your child sexually. Like, you got to wake up to this.
It's a law being passed. I want to say it already got passed in New Jersey, where next year New Jersey schools will be mandatory to teach the LGBT curriculum. And that whole lifestyle is part of, the sex ed, I guess.
I mean, they don't even really tell the truth about that either, because most of these changes happen when they are being molested or touched by a family member or a religious leader. Like, a lot of these they think like there is no DNA sequence that you come out gay. They already proved this. White science has already proven this. So I don't know why they want to keep pretending like it's a thing that happens naturally. No, it's a thing with lust. Because now, what's the on back of that? It's going to be, I want to sleep with goats and animals. I want to marry my dog. That's where it's heading. I want to marry a dog.
I'm in love with my neighbor's dog.
Yeah, right. I don't understand this, man. It's just, you're just opening up a door, and that's all you're doing is opening up doors.
I apologize for eating French fries in front of y'all, but I'm hungry. Super chats here. She's Ether Gnosis. Thank you again. She says, Orientals are rug. The people are Asian, Hotep. My bad. I knew I was politically incorrect on that. Wahoo Bear, $5 super chat. He said, what is your take on Black Israelites being tied to the Covenant Catholic scandal? Keep up with the great interview work, Hotep. Are you familiar with the Covenant Catholic scandal?
No, what's that?
A bunch of Catholic kids, Catholic school kids go to Washington, D.C. for a field trip. Hebrew Israelites is out there. They call them the kids Edomites.
Oh, yeah. I did see that. And then, I saw that, and then Fox News tried to make it a thing where they were, like, the Hebrew Israelites were calling the kids all these type of, names. They're doing, that's how they talk. And then the kids were kind of, jeering them on and saying hell yeah and dancing in front of them and saying it was cool to have slaves. I think one of them said and all that. To me, like I said, like in the Bible it says be wise as a serpent and soft as a dove. And when you're trying to preach that truth, you know what the backlash is going to be. You know that they were going to demonize you based off of that. Now you made yourself prey. Now, when they want to go hunt you down, you better hope they don't get the RICO law and turn you into a gang and start pulling everybody off the streets and putting you in jail because you're talking violently. And then you're not talking sweetly like how we're talking, trying to preach the truth and all that. So it's hard to say that we are aggressive. It's hard to criminalize us. But when you out there yelling against kids and all that, calling them white devils and all that, you're going to get the backlash to that. Who you think they're going to stand up for in this country?
Covering the Catholic kids.
You know what I'm saying?
A Wax 44th Street, 54th Street. Great interview. What's his thoughts on the moon landing and flat Earth? You deal with that?
Yeah.
Flat Earth theory, yes or no?
It's flat. It's flat, fam. It's flat. It's flat.
It's flat?
It's flat. They can't tell you a picture of what this world looks like other than the same picture they keep showing you. They show you the same sideways slant angle to make it seem like it's on the curvature. They show that same angle. I've watched people send bread, balloons, everything up to that sky and it don't curve over. They do these things on YouTube all the time. These brothers, that's one thing I love about white folk. When they want to get to the bottom of something, they gonna get to the bottom of it, and they gonna do it their way. Like we ain't making rockets and all that. White folk are making rockets to prove that the Earth is flat. They're out there making rockets, bro, to prove the Earth is flat. And if you don't believe in that, then I don't know what you would believe, but I know when I look outside, I see the same stars in the same locations. To think that we traveling through space through a ball and the sun bigger than what it is, when that sun sometimes like it's on my neck, like it's in this solar system along with the moon. Like it don't make sense what they tell you.
You believe that we landed on the moon?
No, I don't believe that either. That came out too. Stanley Kubrick talked about how he helped NASA fake that moon landing. Then he get killed for it because he wouldn't take 30 minutes out of that movie Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah,
that talks about their whole little Freemason Illuminati masquerade ball parties that they have.
Right.
There was a lot to go along with that. Like they literally killed that man for trying to expose the truth, and then he exposed it in The Shining. If you ever watch The Shining, he talks about the moon landing that he did for them. Like when you go to the room, he talks about the room and the little boy wears the Apollo shirt, the sweatshirt with the Apollo on it. Like he throws those little images in there to where people could pick up on it to show that landing was faked.
So on flat Earth theory, I say round Earth broke, flat Earth woke, hollow Earth, Hotep.
What's hollow? You think like it's another world underneath this one?
Not necessarily. Well, here's the thing with me. I don't believe the Earth is round, flat, or hollow. What I'm saying is, if you're going to entertain either of the other two, you have to entertain hollow Earth theory as well, right? Because if you're saying that we can't picture this globe, there's no pictures of the globes, we don't know what shape it is. Flat is just one of the potential shapes. It could be a triangle, it could be a trapezoid, it could be a donut. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, if it's flat, is it hollow too, like a disc, like a DVD, like a CD, like a game?
Like it's like a hole in the middle of it.
Yeah, right. You got to entertain that too, because when you go to Antarctica, what happens? They just sent a excursion left out of Chile, I believe, went missing. Trying to go to Antarctica.
I think there is a deep hole. I think there's a deep hole in that. They may call it Sheol, but I think there is a hollow area down there where I don't know what they're doing in there, but it's got to be something where the whole country can agree not to go up over there. So It's got to be something. I mean, obviously, look at the ice, those ice walls that go all the way around. I mean, they go all the way around. Like no one's going past this ice wall. I feel like I think we're in a flat Earth dome. Like they throw it in the movies. I feel like they throw the truth in the movies. You remember that movie Jim Carrey did, Truman Show?
Truman Show.
Yeah. I feel like when they did that dome, I feel like that's what the Earth is. That dome. That's
Truman Show. I love that show.
Yeah, I love that. I could watch that movie 100 times and try to pick out little things of reality in it.
Yeah, the Truman Show. That was a really good movie. Matthew Everson, he said, appreciate this convo, boys. Another night worshiping in the Church of Hotep Jesus. 336 watching, less than 200 likes. Boop, hit that like button. Hell, appreciate you, Matt. Thank you for coming through. Hallelujah. Can I get a hallelujah from the congregation? Ethanosis, Larry bringing that smoke. Yes, he is. Mary O'Donnell, what's up, baby? Mary O'Donnell's More of the Year 2019 coming back to repeat the crown. She says $10. Hotep Jesus discussion interviews are getting better and better. This has been great, gentlemen. Does Larry foresee a spiritual revival in this country sometime in the near future?
I do, and it's not going to be the revival that you think. You're going to see a spiritual revival. It's going to be done through punishment. Somebody got to answer for us being slaves. I'm just telling you that right now. Somebody answering for it. And now you're seeing a little bit when you see some of these certain billionaires and all that die who own companies off of the backs of our blood. You see them just turn up missing. You see them dying in crashes and all that. Judgment is happening. People don't see it because you don't see the televised version of it.
You're saying judgment for the enslavement of specifically black people?
Yes. They got to answer for that. They have to answer for that. There's nothing that's done on this earth that whatever you sowed in this earth is going to be reaped. So you're going to see that. You're going to see like, man, damn, he was just here yesterday. You're going to see a lot of that. Like you think all these celebrities falling off and all these companies falling down, that's judgment coming. I think as far as Black America should be really excited because you're going to be seeing something that your grandmother has been talking about for your whole, adolescent life of how your grandmother thought so spiritually and all that. You about to see that come to fruition.
Somebody said that's negative. That's negative, Larry.
It ain't negative for me. I'm gonna sit here and have front row seats. It ain't gonna be negative for me. I'm gonna do the gift with the popcorn.
Victor of Life 33, $2.80 super chat. He says, I'm late, but we'll catch the replay. Hashtag Hotep, hashtag GG33. Shout out to Gary. What up, man? John J, $5 super chat. He said, we are at war in Middle East so that Gen X guys don't realize our people are going soft. Ooh, so true. Brandon Kuzer, $4.99 super chat says, Trump ain't perfect, but he's necessary. I like that. John Jay said, if the earth is flat, why do the moon cycles look like that?
Because they circle, they orbit, like they don't go over top. They go like this, like, you know what I'm saying?
They go around.
Like if you look at the sun doesn't set. It's leaving your line of sight to where it goes around in a circle. You just think it sets because of where your line of sight is. But if you look down, it just goes around and comes back around. The same thing with the moon. It goes all the way around and do the same thing. They just kind of alternate each other.
I'll tell you, it's something weird going on with that moon. I can't put my finger on it, but it's something wrong, going weird with that moon. Sometimes it's super huge and sometimes it's small and you see it during the day. And
yeah, right. Like I witnessed, like it feels like it has its own light too. I'm like, where is light coming from? Why is it so bright?
Well, they say that's the sun reflecting the light off of the moon. That's what they say.
Oh.
That's what they say. I don't know if that's true or not. But that's what science says.
You always see the same parts of the moon. Like you don't see behind it. You don't see on the top of it. You see the same side. Every time I look outside, I see the same side of the moon. Like it don't never rotate.
So they say that the earth is in a fixed position and we'll never see that other side, which they call the dark side of the moon.
Okay.
I believe that there's moon people. There's people on the moon. I call them moon people because I don't like using the term aliens or ET. I feel like there's too much.
What about
moon people? That think moon people really let you know that there's an intelligence on the earth. And
you believe so?
Yeah. The Chinese tried to go there this year, and what happened? Mission failed. Israel tried to go there this year. Mission failed. Why is it? We can go all the way to Mars, and Elon Musk can get a rover on Mars, but he can't.
You believe that?
Hold on now. Hold on. You got to remember, I don't believe none of this shit. I'm just saying what's being said. And what's said is that he put a rover on Mars. So if he successfully put a rover on Mars, why can't we successfully put a rover on the moon? Why are we not landing feet on the moon? And I think it's because it's moon people there that's shooting us down out the sky on some Star Wars shit.
Yeah.
I said too.
I don't know about that.
There's no moon people?
I don't know. I believe in demons and angels and all that. I believe that the reason why we didn't go back on that moon because they were told not to go back over there. I also believe there's a demonic there's a demonic stronghold near space that has a lot to do with it. And the reason why I don't believe in that whole Mars and Elon Musk mess, because every time you see the pictures of it, you never see the stars. It's always black, like they did it with CGI. Everything they ever show me from NASA's Twitter and all that, it looks like CGI. It don't never look real. It don't never be no stars. Every time they shoot and they do one of these of the Earths of the astronaut, where the stars at? It's always black. It's always dark, and it's always at an angle, so that makes you always think that the Earth is round. I don't believe none of that stuff, man, to tell you the truth.
But you believe in moon people because you just said it's some intergalactic demons.
I believe there are demons. I believe demons have the same. You believe? Oh, moon people are demons.
That's the moon people. You know, we would say any entity against us would be a demon, right? But the moon people might believe we're demons, right? That's why I call them moon people, because it's very neutral, right? It's very much subjective. You know, they could be the ones controlling this planet. Our tide, they say, is tied to the moon. They could be the ones, that are actually controlling the fuck shit that happens with all our different governments.
Nah, the devil's controlling all that. This whole world is set up for that way. It's like a pyramid scheme. The only one that gets away with a pyramid scheme and Ponzi scheming is the devil.
Larry not trying to hear my moon people theory.
You ain't gonna have me getting struck down by God out here believing that mess.
He said, Mark Jackson, he says, great convo, brothers. Larry, did you see Jay-Z participate in any Masonic rituals during the time you spent around him?
See, here's the thing. When at that time when I was around them and all that, they weren't doing all that, the devil horns, and she doing that, what she called the H-Town, whatever that. They weren't doing that when I was around them. Actually, they were pretty chill people. When I was around them, it wasn't, I don't know what CERN did or what's going on, but everybody changed. Like, it felt like everybody wasn't themselves. And I just literally watched people who I thought were cool and all that, to when I was around them and thought they were normal, to all of a sudden be very, very dark. And everybody was just weird. And I'm like watching, I'm like, when did they start acting like this? I just couldn't remember when they started acting like this. They were really chill when I was around them.
Yeah, I
was around them at parts where, like, on intimate times, like birthday parties and stuff like that. I was around them where it was like, we were cool, have convos, laugh, giggle, that type of stuff. It never once did I have seen what I seen, but like I said, that's the reason why they keep that a secret society secret. You don't really get to see like what they do when you're not around them. But I didn't feel like it just now. You could tell something ain't right.
They made you sign that NDA.
The what?
The NDA, the non-disclosure agreement. They didn't make you sign.
No, I can say what I want. No, I can say what I want. See, I was so lucky to be in a position where I never got approached with those deals or those NDAs or like, hey, you want to get this music video? Hey, you gotta, I didn't get approached that way.
Yeah, because they say, Beyonce, like, she had a party last year or something like that, and before people got into the party, you had to sign a non-disclosure agreement just to enter her party or something like that. I think that's when Tiffany Haddish was talking about some kind of fight that went down. Yeah, what do you think about Tiffany Haddish? You think she a coon, like some people say, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she is, but I think she has to. Like I said, man, people do a lot for money, and people will sell your soul for money. You'll do whatever they tell you to do. Like, mind you, I think she could be a classy girl who would dress up and really be a black woman, but she want to be part in that movie biz. So what did they do? Make her dress up as a pimp, bring chicken to a red carpet event, like. To do all of that, that's what's being put in front of our people. That this is how we act. I know she's not like that, but she getting that fame right now. So what are you gonna do? You gonna care about the black community, or you gonna care about your bank account?
She got to play that role.
You got to play that role.
Robert Wetzel says, "Watch Shoot the Moon by Crow 777." All right, no doubt. He said, y'all need to do this on a monthly basis. Well, he gonna come back. The HOTEPS been told you next Thursday. So we'll have him as a special guest on our show next Thursday for episode 81. I'll be in Vegas, but I'll still be broadcasting live. Brandon Kuzer, $4.99 super chat. Thank you. He says space is a vacuum. There's no way you can ignite rockets in a vacuum. Plus, I believe the moon is literally a satellite observatory. Star Wars says that the moon is the Death Star. You know, it's people inside the moon, man. They inside that motherfucker. You know, they said it's hollow. You know, they said the moon is hollow. There's people inside there, man. And the rockets don't need fuel. You know, when we think about rockets in outer space, we're thinking about Earth technology. You know, these people might be using electromaglev type technology to shoot things in space, man. You know, we archaic. We don't got no good technology. Christian Gomez says, are you familiar with astrotheology, Manly P. Hall or Bonacci?
He's a Freemason. Yeah, so I know a little bit about it.
Yeah, Manly P. Hall, he got a couple of gems.
Yeah, he got a thing about symbolism and all that, language and all that. Yeah, I got to get ready to go. I got to put the little one to bed.
Yeah, so that's it. You know, Terrence Williams, thank you for the $5 super chat. Showing appreciation for the chat. Larry, thank you for being very patient and enjoying this chat with us. You know, I'll be on Twitter. We're gonna be supporting HOTEPS are here. Anytime you had a problem and somebody calling you HOTEPS, put the bat signal out. We're gonna circle Lagoon for you.
That and boomers I've been getting. I'm like, I what is a boomer? Like that's some new thing?
Well, boomer is you know, like the people that are outdated. They new to the internet, you know.
Wow, bro. They come up with some weird names these days, boy.
Yeah, boomer's the new N-word online. It's the new diss.
I'm like, all right. I'll be a boomer, man. All right. I feel like boomers are the ones with the 2-parent households these days.
That's true. But now the boomers being misused anyway, so don't even pay that shit no mind. But thank you for everybody tuning in. Another Big Brain Talk. This will be available in 3 days on audio, soundcloud.com/HotepNation. Look in the description box for all your links. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you support all the links in the bio. And we'll see Larry next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on HOTEPS Been Told You. Peace out, y'all.